Everybody, welcome. Say hi
Howdy,
to
howdy.
Peter, everybody from over at CultureScape. We have a big panel today, so I'm just going to introduce people quickly here. We have Pete or Peter.
Nope.
We have Endymion, Mr. Endymion TV,
What's
and he
up?
has a Final Fantasy background. I appreciate it. And then Mr. Adam Crigler.
Hello.
Welcome to the stream. And
Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to talk here. We have all beat the game. We have another person coming who was streaming the final part of the game at the moment. But yeah, so we all beat the game. Look, we are all. Actually, I forgot to ask Pete. You've played the original. You like the original. You're a Final Fantasy VII nerd, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just making sure.
I'm an FF7 nerd going back to the '90s. It's kind of I'm one of those
Same, yeah.
crazy, rabid fans. It's a blessing
Yeah.
and a curse.
Yeah, same. I think and the rest of us are as well. I just wasn't sure about you, Pete. But yeah, we're all big fans of this franchise, and it's like this is kind of a big deal for a lot of people. I want to get the first. I think it'd be funny to start off the stream with. I want to go around the horn here, starting with Pete. And I want to know who you guys got for the date at the Golden Saucer, and whether or not you enjoyed it. Pete, how about you?
I got stuck with the dog, and I
No
redid
way!
I
Really?
redid
How?
it through it twice. I still got stuck with the dog. I don't even know how I did that.
Well,
But it's okay because they tie the dog's romance into the things with Aerith, less so than the dog. So it worked out.
They do. They tie. I watched all of them. They tie all of them somehow into the story, into Cloud's feelings. I'm assuming with Aerith and stuff. How about you, Endymion?
I got Aerith, unfortunately. I wanted Tifa.
Oh,
But I opened the door and I saw Aerith and I was just like, oh man.
That's
I
what I
was going
wanted.
for Tifa. But then I got her
Damn it.
instead. It's fine. And then when I beat the game on hard mode, so on hard mode, you have a little option in the menu where you can like fix which character you want for that moment and stuff. So I set it to Tifa, and then that's like my canon playthrough for me. So it's all
right.
good.
The canon. Yeah, you can choose your own canon. Sort of. How about you, Adam?
I got Aerith. Yeah, I was same as Endy though. I was kind of hoping for Tifa because she's a
Stupid.
babe.
She showed
You
up
know
and I'm
what?
like, why
I have a
you?
new appreciation for Aerith though. Through this whole story, I'm kind of like, you know what? She's a babe too, and I feel like
She
she
is a
doesn't get
babe.
the credit she deserves because Tifa's such a freaking babe that everyone talks about Tifa. But I mean, Aerith's
Look,
she's
Aerith's
a babe too, you know. She is.
I wanted Aerith. To be honest, I've always preferred. The game the original game did a great job, I think, of. There's a famous clip of Robert Pattinson describing this phenomenon. It's like having to choose between like both of them is very difficult sometimes for some people, and I felt that way always. I was like, I like both of them. I slightly prefer Aerith just because of her in the original her death, and this is. We'll get into this spoiler territory way later in the stream.
No,
but
name was Tifa.
But yeah, I have
Big mommy
a lot of
milkers,
people-
athletic build. Let's go. That's all
yeah, a
I
lot
need.
of people.
Muscle mommy.
I got Barrett in the
Nice.
date. So and he's my bro. I like him a lot. I think
Oh, you mean the comic relief?
the comic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that in my next video that I'm editing right now. That's like at the end of the video. It's such a dumb article. Oh my god.
It's so stupid.
It's amazing,
So
and people think it's it was like a satire thing. It's not. I looked up the journalist and everything. It's
I know that makes it worse when it's not even outrage bait, but they actually believe it. That's like, oh,
yeah.
Barrett's literally like one of the best characters in the game.
He is
From gameplay
he's a-
perspective.
dude.
Like in hard
Yeah.
mode, if you want to survive hard mode, like pro
hard
tip, I
mode
guess,
Barrett.
just keep Barrett on your team the whole way through. He
You know
tanks
what?
everything, survives.
I figured it out actually. I understand why those game journalists don't like Barrett or they don't understand Barrett. It's because they don't have fathers. They don't know what a good father is and what it's like to have him in your life.
Yes.
So they don't it makes them
relate.
uncomfortable, you know?
They can't relate to Barrett and Marlene's relationship.
Exactly.
Barrett's just so
Uh,
sick. Like his design is sick. Everything. Like a
Dude,
machine gun
Barrett's-
arm. Like come
Barrett's
on.
the man.
He's
Yeah,
so
he's the
sick.
man.
He's so cool. I love him.
What's up, Shank?
Even in the original Final Fantasy VII, you know, like the stories are very similar, which I'm happy about. It is a little different, but Barrett,
Yeah,
goes through a lot in the first game.
he
He's kind of like
does.
the dad of the group too.
Yeah, and
He is the
he's just
dad,
awesome.
and even with Cloud, like meeting him for the first time, doing the mission for Avalanche, and like Cloud goes way back with Tifa, and but even Cloud's relationship by the end of the game with Barrett is really good. Like they're close friends. Like it's just a great character.
We need
But
we need
yeah,
more Barretts, not less.
yeah, we do.
In like entertainment.
I think that's probably because the original translation that came to the West, I think established Barrett as being more like a Mr. T kind of character. And I think we're kind of like a little bit on the fumes of that.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. T was awesome.
Yeah, I
I
don't see
mean,
what the problem there is.
yeah, Mr. T's cool. Now this story with every single character, is much more okay. There's a lot more dialogue with every character in Remake and Rebirth combined, than there was in the original game. Every character gets a more fleshed out narrative. Red 13's narrative is similar, but there's just more. There's more to it. What are your guys' thoughts on? Let me ask you your overall thoughts on the game, and from the context or perspective of whether or not you think this is an improvement to the original or a good complement, or if you prefer the original better, and like maybe that you can contextualize it that way. Let's start with Adam. What are your thoughts on the remake and Rebirth in general?
Well, the remake, I feel disappointed a lot of fans.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it for what it was. I was a
Same.
little annoyed at the amount of crawling through tight spaces that it forced you to. It felt like at least 20% of the game was just like going through a tight space to get to another area.
Yeah,
And that it happened so much that
a little
it
bit too often.
annoyed me. Yeah, way too much, and so
Yes.
it felt constricting. Whereas this Rebirth really opened it up, and it felt like you were finally able to breathe while
It
you were
did.
gaming.
It did.
But overall, I loved the feeling of actually being Cloud.
Yeah.
When I first put Remake on and I was running around as Cloud, I was like, this is amazing. Like
Yeah.
it was fantastic. And even when I got to the end of Remake, when you see all the whispers and
Yeah.
suddenly Sephiroth's there, and that battle on the bridge, it's like this is totally different. It kind of, I don't know, it was like this. I wanted to not like it because it wasn't the original
Right.
story, right? So my instinct was to be like upset about it, but I couldn't be upset about it because I enjoyed it a lot, so much that I went back and played
Sure.
hard mode. So
And then
when Rebirth,
Rebirth. Yeah.
yeah, so Rebirth now hits, and it gave me everything that the remake didn't give me, the ability
Yep.
or the things to grind for, the multitudes of mini games,
Yep.
the open world feel of like finally getting out of Midgar and being able to explore out in the real world. And it wasn't a world map, but I like how they did it. It didn't feel like it needed a world map after I got past like Junon. I was like, you know what, like I haven't even thought about there not being a world map, um like the original game.
An overworld. Right.
Yeah, like an
Right.
overworld, like the original Final Fantasy VII had, so
Yes.
it really felt like Rebirth was that game that we wanted, like the Final Fantasy VII fans that have been wanting a remake forever.
Yep.
um
It does feel like one.
Yeah, it was like, this is what I wanted to play when Remake came out, and Remake was
Especially
just
the grasslands is when you first feel it, right? Am I wrong in
true.
that? Like it's like, okay, this is what Breath of the Wild did for Legend of Zelda, and this is what, in my opinion, what Zelda always was supposed to be. And I feel like this Rebirth is what Final Fantasy was always supposed to be. It's just
Yeah.
the technical limitations at the time, which happened to give
When
us
Remake came out, you mean?
when the original
Or
came out.
when the original came out, okay.
Yeah, which ironically happened to like give us this kind of charming overworld aesthetic with the big cloud and standing next to a Junon. It's charming in a way, but it's also just the technical limitations,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. I totally am. I agree with you about Remake. Rebirth. I think Rebirth is finally we feel like I feel like this is what I've always wanted with
See, I'm the
now.
opposite.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
I thought Remake's story was better than Rebirth's personally.
Really?
Story, okay.
I thought Rebirth's story was, when you really think about it, even when you played the original, it's a lot of random things happening up until the point of the Forgotten Capital. And
yeah, they're following. They're just following like a trail.
It's just like things happen the game. You know, like we're in Junon, this is happening now, and then this happens. We're in Coast of the Soul, so now we got to fight this big robot on the friggin' beach or whatever. And like, obviously, I played the original 100%. I did all that.
Are you saying the original game you prefer Midgard as well? In
the original game, like I would say like the way Midgar felt in the remake to me was better than the original. I thought Midgar in general was like the best way I could describe how 7 felt to me. It kind of felt like I was playing Final Fantasy Yakuza Edition. And then that definitely felt like it when I played Rebirth. Rebirth really started to feel like I was playing a Yakuza game. Yeah. In a good way though, not in a bad way.
In a good way, yeah.
In my opinion, like Rebirth, there's like too many mini games for me.
That's fair.
The storyline for me, I'm one of those people where like I was kind of on board with the whole whisper thing. And then when Rebirth started doing the whispers, I just was like, this is pointlessly convoluted for no reason. And especially like once I beat the game's story and I beat it, I was kind of just like, I don't really like this direction that they're going with. Like, I don't want to spoil obviously, but like, you know, the way the whispers work in the live stream and all that. Yeah. I'm kind of going like, it's overcomplicating something that doesn't need to be complicated just to like, I guess, appease fans of like certain characters that I, want to say.
That makes sense. Let me ask you about a different, you guys are, and maybe Pete, you can talk about this too. So what you're saying is you would have preferred something more like what they did with Junon, which is an improvement to Junon, but it's not so dramatically different that it messes with the story. It's just
like I'm okay with like the world design and everything. I thought those are the best parts of the game. Like it was just
the world
running
design.
Around discovering stuff. There's a lot of things though that if I had the ability to change Rebirth, there's a lot of things I would change about it that are like incrementally like small things here and there. Like I would change the fact that Chadley just doesn't interrupt you too much.
Oh yeah,
there's completely remove Mai from the game.
I fucking can't stand that dude.
Yeah, I would remove Mai from the game completely because like she's
annoying. What is the point?
Yeah, she's like monologuing you while you're fighting.
Yeah, over the fight.
You can't hear anything.
Oh, that's the worst part of the game.
Yeah, so like that's another thing I would be like, hey, Mai, I would just remove Mai completely. Yeah. Chadley, I would like not make him stop me with his little like Nintendo screen thing. Just have him talk as if like it's a radio. But I can still walk around and do things like you can do that. But
we're talking about optional content. We have to differentiate this because I know people who didn't do any of the optional content and they just did the story. And I think if you 100% the game like I did, except for the final Gilgamesh mission, I didn't do it yet. But
he's kind of ridiculous.
That one was annoying.
Going through that island, it's freaking serious.
It's so
that's another thing with this game too, is I feel like hard. Square Enix went too far off the deep end with the challenges.
Really?
Some of them are hard, man.
Yeah, especially if you're a completionist, this is like a completionist nightmare.
It is.
I think the problem lies in like there isn't enough places to like just grind levels. Like you just have to do the same mission to get AP, and it's like that part isn't enjoyable to me. That's why I haven't like really mastered the materia, because that grind isn't enjoyable to me as opposed to like running around in the game and being able to master materia.
I maxed out most of my materia in hard mode. I just set certain materias with AP up and then just kind of played that way.
Hard mode gives you XP boosts, right?
Massive, yeah. Because the level max is 70. I think I was like 49 or 50 when I beat the game on normal, and then I gained the rest obviously in hard mode at level 70. But I don't know. I can't talk much about the story without spoiling it. So I'll just say, I like the story. I like the added context of things. I don't like that there's certain areas that should have been in the game that aren't there. For example, Rocket Town isn't in the game, which I was disappointed by.
Yeah.
So like the
That'll
way
be in
you
part
kind of
3. Yeah.
yeah, like the
Yeah,
way
for
you meet
sure.
Sid is a lot different, and I'm kind of like not crazy about it. I thought
Right.
the way, like, if you want me to just like list a bunch of my complaints, I thought the way Cosmo Canyon was designed overall in like
Too
every
big?
conceivable way was annoying. Not too big, it's just annoying.
I'm just
Yeah,
mad Sid wasn't swearing.
Yeah, and he's not smoking either because apparently
Yeah,
you're
he
not allowed to
gave
do
didn't
up
that
swear
anymore.
tobacco.
at
You
all,
can't
not
smoke,
one
you
time.
can't-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like
what?
the best parts about Rebirth for me is like the actual combat, because you have all the characters, they all play differently, whatnot. The customization, even though like the upgrade weapons screen seems kind of pointless because you can't actually upgrade the weapons, they just upgrade automatically.
Yeah.
So that screen's just kind of confusing to me why it even exists in the menu.
Good point.
Yeah.
I thought the synergy attacks were really good. I like that concept. I want to see that in other Final
They're
Fantasy
amazing.
games. The idea of like
Amazing.
you know bringing characters
Chrono
together.
Trigger,
making
man,
that-
throwing it back. Felt
Yeah.
like
Well,
Chrono
it's
Trigger.
almost like Marvel versus Capcom or something where you have like team-ups, you know,
it's great.
This reminds me of a hardcore action fighting game almost in the way it's designed, more like a
You ever
Devil May
play
Cry or
Soul
something.
Calibur?
Yeah, I love that
It
game.
kind of felt it brought a little of that element, a little Soul Calibur action.
Yeah,
The gameplay in this is really really good. I like the exploration a lot.
Yeah.
But like if I were to compare it to the most recent Final Fantasy besides this one, which is 16, I felt like for me personally, 16 story was better for me than Rebirth story.
Would you
16
feel that way?
had a good story. Yeah,
But would you feel that way if you had never played the original Final Fantasy VII?
I don't know, right? That's the thing. I can't have that opinion because obviously
It's hard.
It's impossible because I played it back on the PS1.
That's how I felt about Dune. I didn't know how to look at it from the perspective.
That's just the
normie.
problem with like Rebirth is the fact that like we now have to wait to yeah, exactly, like what this guy's saying here. Like the multiverse for me, that was the part of the game that I just hate. I hate the multiverse in anything now. Like anytime I hear that come up in a game, my eyes just roll to the back of my head. I don't care what it is, pretty much.
And Marvel ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, and it's just bad now because like, can I speak a little bit about the multiverse? Is that okay? In this game?
No, I want to get to the multiverse. I wanted to start though with like just the I want to talk about the core of the game first, which is like the regions themselves, because this game is like, I don't know about you, but to me it felt like The Witcher a little bit, and I think that's why everybody likes about the game, whether you like the story or not, or some of the other stuff, the mini games, which are optional content, by the way. You're not forced to do most of these. I think the best, I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts of the grasslands, of Junon, of Costa, Nibelheim, Cosmo, all of the regions, which is the core loop of the game, because it's so focused on combat, this game, which surprised me because there's so much story to tell. But like, what are your thoughts on the regions? And maybe you have like a favorite region? Do you like exploring it? Pete, let's go with Pete, and then we'll go around the.
Okay.
I'll go last because I have a weird take. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm very mixed on FF7 Rebirth. I love Remake. I love this one. They're very different games because they represent different segments of the original. I think for people, there are people that loved like the original game. They loved like the Midgard section. They loved the entire narrative. And then when it opened up, and then you're just kind of wandering, you're just doing all kinds of random stuff. For me as a kid, because when I first played the game, I was 8. When I really got into 11, I didn't really care for the narrative as much. That came later as I matured. So playing through this is kind of like that for me. It's like we're going around, we're doing random things. We don't breed chocobos, but we capture chocobos. I love all that stuff, but I understand when people say that they don't quite gel with it. I think the regions are great for the most part. I think they're like there are some that are better than others, and some that are worse, like Gungaga, Cosmo Canyon. They try to implement more like 3-dimensional
spaces,
platforming into it, and that works to some degree, but they overdo it. You feel in Cosmo Canyon a lot because so much of the time you're just wasting. Like, how do I get from
that's the one I didn't like
X to Y, and it doesn't connect. It's that I think is where they messed up. I think my favorite region is like anything that kind of went through a golden saucer. I think the golden saucer That
Yeah.
whole setup is just incredible. Both from like the storytelling's great, artistically it's just magnificent, especially when you first enter the Ghost Hotel. I mean, that
Yeah.
just blew me away. But I really like that section of the game in the middle because you get all the different flavors that are in Rebirth. You get the drama of Barrett and figure out his story. You get introduced to some of the bigger elements more with Shinra. You also get a smaller side action just with the characters. I felt like all that was a really good balance, and it's why when I did write my review, for me that part of the game, that little chunk, was probably my very favorite because it just has a little bit of everything. It's all done really well.
Perfect. I agree with that, actually. It's a good part. What are your thoughts on the when I mentioned The Witcher, you seem to like maybe disagree with that. What are your thoughts on like the did you enjoy the open world aspect of it and the traversing these regions in the same way that you would like?
Yeah, so I've played
are
Witcher
you
3 and all that.
Yeah.
So like for me, with Rebirth, it feels, people say Witcher, to me it feels more like an Ubisoft open world a little bit.
Okay.
You even got the towers and everything.
The towers for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the open world, I thought it was good for the most part. It was, I mean, it is technically repetitive. Like there isn't really surprises in the open world per se, because you know that it's going to be one of these activities that you've already done before. So there's nothing technically surprising you, because it's like, I know I'm going to find towers that are going to show me where, the Mako Spring is or whatever. Yeah. And like, that's fine. I thought my favorite areas are probably the grasslands first, because that was just nostalgia bait completely. Especially when I went into kind of like the sand area on the left and it started playing the Hollow song from the remake as like the background music. I was like, wow, this is great.
What about
that's another thing I think is really great about Rebirth.
Yeah.
One thing's great about Rebirth is that, and this is something I hope so many more games do in the future, because like it gets so repetitive, is that it does not have one battle theme. There's constant battle themes.
Yes.
And I love that. So
sure.
Grasslands was great. Junon was great, because like in my brain, leaving Mithril Cave, in my brain I have how it all looks in my head from before. And I could like immediately be like, okay, I know Junon's to the right, because that's where it always is and stuff. So I really like the Junon area a lot. Costa del Sol I liked a lot too. The only area really I didn't like as much was Cosmo Canyon, for the same reasons. It's too vertical, and like the chocobo flying crap and getting to places was annoying.
It doesn't feel realistic. It feels like it's separate from the rest of the game. Like the
it kind of feels like I'm playing like Banjo-Kazooie or something all of a sudden. And I really like that. Gungaga I liked a lot. I know some people didn't like that because it was more like smaller.
Yeah.
But that's why I liked it, because that was probably one area they expanded the most on. Because Gungaga, the original game, is just like a little backwater town. You go fight Rude at some like reactor
after you beat Ultima.
Secret. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just too bad they didn't have the fight against the big Triceratops with like the treads from like the tank legs.
The tank treads.
Yeah, he's not in the game, and I was like, oh, it's too bad, but it's okay. Nibelheim for me was too small, like the Nibel region in general, which is unfortunate, because for me, when it came to like exploration, I felt like Nibelheim had the best exploration almost, because the whole chocobo mechanic of flying with the water and stuff, it just wasn't big enough.
I love it.
I agree. I agree with that 100%.
Well, to be fair, it's not that big in the original game. That part of the story is not. Although these are all tiny in the original game, these are not very elaborate regions.
That's true. No, obviously
if you think about Cosmo Canyon, you take a buggy through a little windy maze, and that's it. By
the way, that's my least favorite part of the whole game. Is the whole Cosmo Canyon bit. That whole section
in the original or Rebirth?
In Rebirth. It's my least favorite section of the whole game, just because like Cosmo Canyon as a city, the way they designed it's so vertical with the elevators and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just annoying, and I didn't like just having to play as Red 13, and then you and Barrett, and you're kind of going through this thing.
The dungeon was so epic. That
it was okay.
Was so cool.
So
go ahead.
I love the feeling of going through these regions, because like you said, they weren't very big in the original, and this felt like you got to be in them. You know what I mean? Like you get to like actually be there instead of all right, I'm just like going past it to get to the next spot, which is what it felt like in the original game. You know, it really
Yeah.
kind of allowed you to
You-
really get into the zones and get to
Yep.
get to feel for them. And then
And that's
on
important.
top, I want to say about
Yeah.
you mentioned like you had to be Red 13 and Barrett. It annoyed me at first because I was like, in the first game, I pretty much had my crew. You know, like I used Sid, Barrett, and
Yeah.
Cloud. That's like who I used, right?
That was your team.
Yeah.
That was my squad in the first game. Yeah, they had the best
Well-
limit breaks, I think.
Do you mean at the
But,
end, like towards in disc 3?
Yeah.
When you unlock everybody and then you decide, okay, who?
I was
okay.
Cloud, Red 13, and Vincent.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Team
I was-
edgelords.
I loved Vincent, but man, once you lose control of him because of his limit, it's just kind of like, and all right, you know, he's
Oh,
gone.
I can't wait to
basically.
play as Vincent in the fucking.
I can't
in the
wait.
sequel.
I
Oh
can't
my
wait
God, dude.
either because
Combat.
I like the way that they've changed. You know,
Yeah.
you're gonna be able to use him anyway.
Yeah.
I love how they've made each character like you get to play them all, and it makes
Yeah.
sense. It kind of forces it a little bit, but
Yeah.
after you like are playing them, you're setting them up, and then you get to like know the characters a little bit more. And I really love how they did.
No,
that.
there's so much, especially if you do like the hard mode and you do all the challenges like I'm doing, and like the Coliseum and everything. Dude, learning all the characters and what they can do and all the builds you can make. There's some insane ones out there.
Oh yeah.
There's this one build with Quakiga and like Swift casts and all this stuff, and you put a bunch of elementals and like MP absorptions with other Quake materials and stuff. And when you use Quake, like okay, there's this build I was using yesterday. I just have to explain it. It was insane. So there's this build where basically Kate Sith has stop on Magnify. So as soon as the match starts, Kate Sith stops everyone. So everyone stops moving, all the enemies. Then you switch to Aerith. Aerith has what's it called? Synergy with Comet. And then basically she puts what's it called? Arcane wards, so like you double the spells. You put that on Cloud. So all the enemies are frozen. Aerith puts arcane ward on Cloud. Cloud uses AT boost with the other thing, so he has like double
A
AT
large
bars.
ATB. Yeah.
Then you use Quakiga on Magnify. It hits everything because it's arcane ward. It ends up hitting enemies like 6 times, and all their stagger bars get filled up instantly. And you can use this build, by the way, to break pretty much like I would say 90% of like the end game content. And Cloud literally just uses Quakiga, and the whole screen is just like mountains of rocks coming up. And it's just like stagger. And then Cloud has like a full limit break, and then like whatever's left, you just like run over. And I think you use the expeditionary medal on him, so he always has level 3 limit break. So whatever's left, you just finishing touch and kill it, and it's over. And like you just keep doing that. And every single round, it's just like Kate Sith, stop, arcane ward, Quake, everything's dead. He's doing it over and over and over
Hard
again.
mode is going to be a lot of fun to figure that stuff out. I relied heavily on limit siphon towards the end of the game to beat a lot of this stuff. That was like my go-to. I would just steal everybody's limit breaks and just wreck people with Cloud, like because the game got a little hard towards the end. But
the final fight, which is like 10 phases, took me like
oh my gosh,
it was
I
annoying.
don't even want to talk about it.
No, it's
I'll give you a little bit of a hint on how it went for me. I only had one squad set up because I didn't know how it was going to be.
Yep, you're fine.
Right? So nobody was prepared, but I was too stubborn to start over. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to figure it out. And
just so
like
you know,
beating my head against the wall.
Next time you do play it, if you do, during the cutscenes, you can actually hold down square and it'll show the menu option. And then right before the fight starts, your menu will pop up, and then you can change whatever you want.
That would have been nice to know.
Also, they force you to watch. They force you to watch the same cutscene over and over again.
There's like certain fights in hard mode that are just absolutely insane, dude.
Oh, it's
you can break into the menu during cutscenes. I have like 120 hours in this game.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Not only that, if another thing I didn't realize till recently, if you go into the combat settings and you go over your abilities, and it's like like L1 plus square, L1 plus whatever.
Yeah.
If you go over whatever ability, if you have that ability available on Magnify, if you press L1 on that ability as it's in the slot, you can actually alternate it between being single target, like quick fire, or you can or you can actually hit L1 and then now it's Magnify instead.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that's insane. I didn't know about that. There's so many of those things. I didn't know that you could be on the back of a chocobo and pull the chocobo stop up with the feet until like towards the end of the
it's
game.
so much faster.
It's faster.
Oh, way faster.
I don't know how it took me that long to realize that. I kept getting off.
There's a lot of little things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they make it. I don't think they ever tell you. I think it's
No.
just kind of.
It's
The
little.
button just pops up if you're standing in front of it.
Yeah, and this game has so much like love that went into it. Like there's little things, like there's so many little tiny things like that all over the game. You were talking about Cosmo Canyon. I kind of want to touch on this just briefly. I think when it comes to the Red 13 and his father, to me that was perfect and actually better than the original game. Not only was it perfectly told, and they used a lot of the same dialogue with his father's realizing his father's sacrifice. It was the music, everything about it was so beautiful, and I felt that way a lot in this game. I love the original game. It's like a masterpiece. It's in my top 10. But like for some reason, it sounds blasphemous, but there are a lot parts of this game that are somehow better than the original, and that's one of them for sure. I think the Nibelheim stuff is up there for me for some of the cutscenes. These are all cutscene things, like story moments.
You know what part was bad though?
Yeah,
playing solo as Kate Sith. That part was.
Oh,
I can't stand
yeah,
him.
that's not the best part of the
let's
game.
let's throw the boxes and make the most convoluted way to do it.
I never used him. I always considered him a traitor in the first game, and then this game, it pissed. All right, a little bit of a spoiler. I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but at the part where he comes to help get the black materia and sacrifice himself after he's a traitor, and everyone's like, he's a traitor, and then they're like, oh, thank goodness this puppet. All right, we're cool now. We're 100%. We're so happy you're back. Like, what? No. He fucking sold you guys out to Shinra. What are you talking about?
Well,
like how
explained
what?
He explained it to Cloud. He said that he didn't want them to die, so he subverted their plans so that because he thought that whoever went there was going to die.
There's a lot of annoying parts.
But he didn't tell that to anybody else. He just said that to Cloud.
Could have said it to them.
Like, I know. He didn't say anything. Yeah.
It didn't feel like I mean, if I was on that squad, I would have been like, oh, hell no. This dude's not coming back. No. Get him out of here.
What did you think of Barrett's backstory? I thought that was beautiful.
That's one of the best parts of the game.
Yeah, they changed one thing. They did not. It's probably a rating a thing where you can't do self-deletion. Maybe they couldn't show him do the
jumping off.
Jumping off. But the way they did it was just as brutal and tragic, and especially what he said to him at the end.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite parts of the game.
Love it.
Incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In my next video, that's like a big part of it too. I'm talking about the whole Barrett and dying situation. That's one of my favorite parts of the game.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
The fight's kind of annoying, but it's okay.
Well,
like especially when his arm turns to Akira. Yeah, he just suddenly gets this like Akira arm randomly where he has like this giant metal tentacle arm. I'm just like, what's going on here? But it's okay.
Well,
it's the first boss in Dark Souls 3, if you remember it. That's what it felt like.
Udex Gundyr. That's his name.
You know what I'm talking about? He turns that the whole arm comes out.
The big like black monster thing comes out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I also think Junon to me was better than the original game. I think Junon was incredible. Everything about it. I liked gathering the soldiers. I thought it was hilarious. The city of Junon and the Undercity was so it's great in the original game, but this was like it was so big. The scale was huge, and like everything.
Well, like you mentioned it earlier, a lot of these places felt like pit stops or passing through.
Yeah.
And that they really fleshed out everything.
All of Junon was fleshed out.
Yeah. Junon was definitely
and Costa del Sol and the rest of the game too. But
everywhere you went, and especially I think it was Pete who said Golden Saucer, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they really did a fantastic job with that because that was one of my favorite places, right? You earned a lot. You earned a lot of amazing things there.
Oh yeah,
so you spent a lot of the time there.
Queen's Blood
Omni
cards.
Believe me, if you're gonna 100% the game,
oh yeah,
you're gonna spend.
I'm talking about the original.
There.
Yeah, the original game. Yeah, you did spend a lot of time at. Yeah, for sure. There's Omni
All right,
Slash was
wait.
Golden
Raise your
Saucer.
hand. I'm raising my hand right now, just in advance.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you beat Sephiroth in the 3D battler. Nice.
In this game,
Nice. I also beat him.
And I did it without pausing the game. I just learned it.
Pausing.
And he
Oh,
drove
I
me-
didn't.
he
Is that a thing?
Wait.
Yeah,
Wait.
that's an exploit you can do if you want to. So basically, what you do when you fight Sephiroth in the 3D brawler,
Yeah.
when,
as soon as he starts moving.
as soon as he makes a movement, pause the game,
Ah.
and then you can see where it's coming
Oh,
from.
lame. No, I memorized
I-
it too, Andy. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I memorized it, but you can apparently do that.
Right.
But no, I just
I-
beat it normally, and I went
I don't
crazy.
like that. I don't like that mini game at all. So I didn't even know he was in the game. He was a fighter.
Oh, the brawler
Oh,
game is
dude,
awful.
you get ribbon.
awful.
That's how
Yeah.
you get
Oh,
spoilers. Spoilers. My bad.
Ribbon? Oh no, it's
Yeah.
a spoiler. No, it's not
Yeah.
a big spoiler.
Well,
But yeah, I know.
yeah.
Like
Anyway.
that's the only mini game that I didn't. Everything else I perfected all of them, and then the only thing I didn't do was the brawler stuff, and then the Gilgamesh thing, and
Yeah.
the party animal guy. I didn't do that one either. It was like the only 3 quests.
That
I
one's
didn't do.
annoying.
Oh,
too.
that's not hard. They're really not that bad.
You got to
actually.
high score everything, isn't that like? I just
No,
didn't-
I
way
think
to
it's
beat
really
in order
not
to get
that
the
bad.
platinum. There's a trophy where you have to get all of Johnny's collectibles.
Yeah, that's
And Johnny's
Oh, that's
collectibles
that's
are
a
literally
lot.
Yeah, you have to
Everything.
basically get the top score on every single mini game that's available
Crazy.
in the game.
Oh my
Beat
god.
hard mode. You have to take all
That's
3
insane.
girls to Loveless, which you can just like manipulate in the chapter
Yeah.
select, so that's fine.
yeah.
You have to literally max out the game 100%. I have like a few left.
Crazy.
It's
That's
nuts.
wild.
Well,
So-
what do you
And you
guys
gotta beat
think of-
Sephiroth on 3D Brawler.
Let's talk about Queen's Blood a little bit. Somebody in the chat wanted to get your
Oh,
thoughts on
man.
it. I fucking love that game.
I
good.
love Queen's Blood
It's good.
so much.
So good.
It's great
You-
once you have
Yeah.
enough cards. In the beginning, it felt very RNG based. Like no matter what I do, I'd lose. But like about maybe I would say around when I got to Junon and that point
Yeah.
onward, then it became really fun for me.
Yeah. Did you
Before
build
then,
your
I
own
was just
deck?
like, I'm losing.
Oh yeah.
Did you guys build
Yeah,
your own decks?
My deck was basically a bunch of Tonberries and the other
Are you-
guys, those birds that cast Berserk on themselves. Forgot their names.
Oh
And
yeah.
basically, you just like have a bunch of cards that destroy your own cards, and then when you destroy them, it like increases the strength of those other cards. So you essentially
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like have a bunch of cards that are really strong, and then a bunch of cannon fodder that you just sacrifice en masse, and then you just get these like insanely high scores, and then you just wipe everything out. It's easy.
The first half of the game, I was doing like the buff my characters with like the legendary Chocobo card and Dio, the cards that get bigger
buffs.
based on the buffs. And then
But then you got to destroy your cards at some point.
like Andy was saying, once you get to the cards that you could destroy your own stuff, you can actually manipulate placements
Yeah.
and like destroy their cards and your cards.
it's just better. They're better
So
decks.
just like yeah, oh man. And after
I
that
just-
point, I never looked back. I was just like constantly just using that
But-
deck. It carried me
cool-
all the way to the end.
But the cool thing about Queen's Blood is it's a whole ass side story, and like they did this with Fort Condor also. Like there's really the side stories in this game, whether you like them or not, like they put a lot of effort into some of these side stories, and like
Yeah.
even Costa del Sol had like the whole part with Hojo and everything. That's not really part of the storyline, but it's like it's very interesting and nuanced. But the Queen's Blood to me was like really cool. I actually want more of that in part 3. I want to know, what do you guys think of the? Yeah.
I usually hate card game, like real life card games, all that kind of stuff. I hate it. But Triple Triad from 8, that was something I actually liked. And when FF14 brought back the Golden Saucer, they brought
yeah.
back Triple Triad. I wonder if that's why they had to find a new card game. And this
Maybe.
one is similar, where it's like it's simplified because it's only like 16 squares. But at the same point, though, it has enough depth that can hold you. So someone who's not very good at card games,
Yeah.
like myself, it was just right there. It was just the perfect entry point, and they have it so well balanced that as it gets more difficult, it slides you along just so wonderfully, to the point where
Yeah.
I was actually enjoying it as I was getting into it. When I started, I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to put up with this." We're at the end stage where I'm taking on
No, I like it
Yeah.
a lot.
what's her face, the Queen. I feel like
Queen.
I'm just like I'm the master.
She
Going
was
you
was
game
hard.
on it.
kind of
Just
she
so
was
hard.
pretty hard. Yeah. I mean,
Took
I
forever.
grew up playing Magic the Gathering, Like I
Yeah.
started at 95. Like I've been playing card games, pretty much Magic though, mostly for dude,
I
for
play a
so
lot of
long. So
Pokemon TCG and Yu-Gi-Oh.
and
but,
I've played
yeah.
random game, you know, like Hearthstone and stuff, which I didn't really like Hearthstone, but something about this
Yeah.
game, it kind of blends having like the simplicity of it, but also the ability to become
Yeah.
very complex. Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
when you're in Costa del Sol and you're doing those challenges, or
Yeah, they're-
also in
Yeah.
the saucer, you know, and it's like some of them got pretty like brainy.
Well, yeah,
and-
they're setting up like 6 moves in advance, stuff like that.
yeah, I really liked
Brain-
it. So I
Brain
thoroughly
like
enjoyed
Sudoku.
it. I wish there was more. I mean, I would actively
personally
just
too.
search
Well,
out
they need to.
the Queen's Blood every time I got to a new zone.
They're
Yeah.
talking about adding DLC Queen's Blood stuff. They're talking about bringing. There was a rumor it's going to go online as a separate mode for a multiplayer.
Interesting.
I would buy real cards if they had them.
Would you?
Personally, 100%, dude. I would buy packs of easily and play that in
No,
real
I'm
life.
done
with, like,
buying packs.
with a
I would
board.
never. I can't do that anymore. My
If
But
they
I
have
wanna-
like a digital game that I could
doesn't let
play,
me.
like you know,
digital, yeah.
I'd be okay
I would
with
play
that.
it.
But like my favorite card game of all time in a video game anyway is Gwent. But
Gwent?
I still
Yeah,
like
Gwent.
Queen's Blood a lot. I still think it's really fun. Like Gwent for me, like my girlfriend knows. Like when I played Witcher, like I don't care that I got to search for Siri. I'm gonna go play Gwent. Like I don't give a shit, you know. So Queen's Blood's fun.
Yeah.
I hope they expand on it. I
Yep.
just hope they like lessen the mini games in the sequel, because this one was like even like side quests had their own mini games.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of
Yeah.
ridiculous. You know, it
Well,
was kind of like
here's what
too much.
here's what I'll say about
There
that.
was a lot. That's true.
Adam talked about like sort of fleshing out the zone, like making you feel like kind of you're in the world of Final Fantasy. I think the mini games. I think some people are overlooking the fact that the mini games themselves and interacting with the inhabitants of the world is super important, and they make you feel attached to the world in a way that when you ultimately have to save the planet, there's something there. Like you
Yeah,
want to
good
save
point.
that guy that you fought in the bar in Cosmo Canyon because you like him. Like there's all these side characters. There's musicians playing in every city.
And a
when
lot
they
of
have,
those
like,
characters you're talking about are they kind of are prevalent throughout this. Like you
Yeah,
see
but-
familiar characters, so you kind of
different, like that Shinra
they
guy.
remind you that they're there. You know.
Yeah, and you just get it. I personally got attached to everybody. That I loved interacting with all these NPCs. I felt differently. Like that's how I felt. I know some people just want to do the story, which is fine, but I think it's important to flesh that out.
I liked what's her name?
yeah.
Kyrie, I think. her
Kyrie,
name is.
she was okay.
She's all right, but like
I didn't like her.
What the fake Merc?
yeah,
the fake Merc.
Yeah.
She got annoying towards the end, maybe, but she's fine.
She was
She's fine.
annoying 100% to me.
Yeah.
If she was not in the game, I wouldn't have noticed.
my favorite things are just like when you play Queen's Blood and it's like, oh, you're playing against like a dog or a chocobo, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, who
Dash
cares?
is here.
I got a
Hey,
talking dog on my team. Who cares?
Dash is
Fine.
here. Hey Dash, what's going
Hello.
on, buddy?
Hey,
How's your
Hey.
stream? Did you beat the game?
yes, I beat
Oh,
the
shit.
game. I just
Nice.
beat the game.
Congratulations.
Oh
That's
yeah.
crazy.
How are you feeling right now?
Can I'm allowed to spoil the ending?
Well,
No, not
we'll
yet.
do that. We'll do that in a minute here.
Oh
Did
yeah. Okay.
you-
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
holy hell. We did it.
we
Square
did it.
did it.
Yeah, dude. I like the ending a lot, man. I loved also this entire game. There's we talked about some. I agree with some of the nitpick stuff, like the Kate Sith missions are stupid.
Oh, Kate
And,
Sith's
all-
mission was like
But
so.
over-
I died like more times in that part than
Oh,
like
that-
in any
the-
other
the
part of the game.
adjudicators? Dude, the adjudicators, I couldn't figure out even what their gimmick was.
Oh,
for a while. I
yeah.
didn't understand.
I still don't understand them. I
don't get it.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So like if you
still don't
if you
get it.
pressure them with
Dude,
physical attacks,
assess.
they'll
Physical
be
and
immune to
magic
physical, and then you have to hit them with
Assess is your
magic.
best
If you
friend.
pressure them with magic, they
Yeah.
yeah,
assess.
it's complicated.
I wanted to talk quickly here about. I guess we'll get into some of the story stuff just here.
Oh yeah,
whenever you
Yeah,
guys
let's
gotta
spoil
go,
it.
you know.
Let's
you
just
guys
spoil
were
it.
talking about
Spoiler
Queen's Blood.
territory.
Oh boy,
Yeah, go
was
ahead.
I addicted to
Yeah,
Queen's
same.
Blood. That
Nice.
is phenomenal. I'd love to play like if they bring that
Multiplayer.
shit to 14 or if they bring make a mobile game, or make even a physical game with like from all over the Final Fantasy multiverse. Like
I would love
that. I love. Yeah, I know. I'd build themed decks. I'd build themed decks over that.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to do the buffs and like all the things that could happen in a physical form. I see it being pretty challenging.
Maybe it might be easier being digital.
Digital would be the way to go. But I wanted to bring up two things, or three specifically we can touch on, and I wanted to start with the expansion of Rufus, and what you thought of his character in this game, because I fucking love that guy. I think he's so cool. Knowing what happens to him in the game, in the original and everything, I feel like that guy is gonna have so much more interest. Like, he's already fascinating to me in this game, and like I don't know what they're gonna do with him going forward, but Hojo did say we have bigger plans, so I don't know what that means. But what do you guys think of Rufus and like
pain in the ass?
Awesome.
The hardest fight on hard mode is Rufus for me.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. In Remake, he is so hard. In Remake, in Rebirth, he was like pretty easy because the dog doesn't come in until later in the fight.
No, see, in Remake, he's easier because Rufus you can actually hit him with status effects, so you can put him to sleep and stuff, and it doesn't matter.
Okay,
they got rid of that in Rebirth, so he just gets way harder. And
then
you're
talking about hard
mode. Yeah, and then in hard mode, you can't use items on top of that, so it makes Rufus even more insane.
Oh yeah,
and you fight him following the fight with Elena and Rude. So it's like, dude, that fight, I remember it was like 12:30 at night. I'm losing my mind. I beat it, obviously, but I was just like, God damn, this is so awful. But Rufus is cool.
Yeah, like as a character, though, like that guy.
His combo style, like when I saw him fighting in the remake in this, the whole time I'm seeing him fight, I'm thinking to myself, like, if they ever made a Final Fantasy fighting game again,
oh yeah, he'd be sick.
Like, I would not mind Rufus having that fight style and like a fighting game. So sick.
Yeah. Oh, like Air Highs back on the PS1.
Definitely between the two games, improved over his original counterpart. Like even fights are more iconic too.
I agree. I think he is an improved character for sure. Especially now, Wutai is going to be in part 3, and we'll find out. I feel like I don't even know what the hell's going on with that.
that whole thing with that Glenn guy.
Yeah, I don't really understand. Now, I don't think we're supposed to. It's still sort of a mystery, but like,
we all know who Glenn is, right? Like,
I mean, they explained who he was, an ex-soldier who is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but we all know who Glenn is, like who he's related to and stuff.
I don't.
Wait, which one's Glenn?
The dead guy that came back to life in this game.
Dead.
Rufus killed this guy, right? You remember Glenn?
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
He keeps like whispering, "Hey, want to start a war?"
The guy that runs Wutai, or like that.
Yes.
Went to Wutai. Right. Okay.
Are you insinuating that he's Sephiroth and Endymion? Is that what you're insinuating?
No.
Okay.
He's someone's bio daddy.
He's someone's dad for sure. Let's put it that way.
Interesting. Okay. See, maybe this bleeds into some. I never played Crisis Core. I don't know what this bleeds. I don't know.
It's pretty obvious.
Crisis Core is incredible.
Look at Glenn.
Really should play it.
What does Glenn have? It's pretty obvious who his son is.
I actually just beat Crisis Core Reunion just before Rebirth because I had a feeling it was going to be important, and I wanted to know more about Zack as a character.
Yeah, it's a great game.
Yeah, it was very rewarding, especially like Zack's like attacks and his limit break are like directly from the game.
Yeah,
I love Crisis Core, man. That game is phenomenal. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's a lot of
People
fun.
like that game. Well, what did you think of I guess let's move on to another part of the game I wanted to bring up, the Tifa. Okay, there's a big part of the game where you go to Gongaga and you have to fight this reactor, and you have to go to the reactor, and there's a fight scene with a boss fight, and Shinra shows up. But then this is where they almost, would you say that they were like borrowing from where Cloud tries to kill Aerith at the Temple of the Ancients, but they did it with Tifa, where he tries to kill Tifa and then she falls into the life stream.
Oh yeah,
that never happened in the original game, and
I didn't like that.
that whole cutscene to me was.
I think they could have.
That cutscene was cool. Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah, I
very-
thought the sequence was cool. I thought the
Yeah.
execution could have been better because I know they teased this in the trailers for Rebirth. Where they did tease like, oh, who is she? Like they played that part in.
I thought they were doing something more with it, but it was just Tifa sort of interacting with the live stream. I thought that I didn't know what I was.
Well, they're hinting at what happens in disc 2, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you haven't played it, and I didn't, want to spoil it, but anyway, there's a part where Tifa falls in the live stream because of a certain somebody that she has to save. So
yeah,
I felt like that's what it was. Basically.
I guess. Also, like we got to see like what Sephiroth is actually doing in the live stream. He's like choking.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that whole master plan. It's just too convoluted for me. But it's okay.
I knew it was going to be convoluted because it's Nomura.
Very convoluted.
Yeah, it's too convoluted in my opinion.
It's very on brand for Nomura though. Very on brand.
As somebody who's never played Kingdom Hearts, I like it. So maybe do
you'll love Kingdom Hearts.
I don't understand. I thought Kingdom Hearts is popular.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is popular, but it has one of the most convoluted plots in all
I've
of
played
fiction.
every single main Kingdom Hearts game. I would have a hard time telling you what the hell happens. There's like time travel, multiple selves, and no, it's nonsense. It's one of those stories where you just kind of have to keep like the bare minimum in your head, and the rest you just kind of like push it out.
Yeah,
and just like focus on what's there. And that's kind of my problem with this one's story is that Rebirth starts becoming like Kingdom Hearts, kind of.
Yeah,
where
with the different timelines.
It just starts getting too convoluted. Where it's like, what does Sephiroth want to do in the original? Okay, he wants to make a giant wound into the earth, absorb it, become a god like Jenova, and then, go rule the cosmos or whatever he wants to do. You're like, okay, fine.
Planet hopping or whatever, Galactus. Yeah.
Yeah, in this game, he's kind of like, I want to become Kang the Conqueror from like Marvel Comics. And I'm kind of like,
sort of. He wants to control. He says this, and this is all in the original game, by the way. By the way, so is time travel. If you go to the Time Guardian, if you read the Time Guardian, it says you can go move backwards and forwards through time, but that was broken in the original game. It was broken. It at one point is implied that it was a functioning time machine. This is all in the there's theory videos you can go watch on YouTube. This is all the subtext is all there. There's precedent for time travel in the original game. Well, they're just doing a lot more of it.
Well, I'd say the reunion kind of makes more sense and has more of a purpose in the story than it does in the original. In the original, all these black guys in black cloaks show up, and then they don't really serve a purpose. They don't really help Sephiroth get the materia. They just jump off a cliff. And but here, they're all part of his big plan to conquer the live stream's multiverse.
Yeah, I think Sephiroth said it. He wants to combine. He wants to unite the timelines or all of these different multiverses into a single timeline where there's no such thing as the cycle of death and rebirth, and it's just an infinite eternity. Basically, this is what he wants. He wants to, and then Aerith, responds with, "There is no such thing as forever." So she's fighting against it because that is, I guess, for her, that's like the death of her spirituality, or the cycle of death and rebirth, which to her is part of her culture and also part of the planet's life.
Yeah.
One thing I hope they expand upon in the future.
Yeah.
I really, really want to. I know they probably won't do it, but I really want to know, where the hell does Jenova come from? It's always been a story. I know, but it's always been something that I've always
she's an alien. She's an H.P. Lovecraft alien from beyond the cosmos. He's just an eldritch horror.
I don't think
that's the thing. And then they kind of expand upon it in this game too, right? They have the Gi, and the Gi are now also aliens.
The Gi reminded me heavily of the dead kings in Return of the King, the City of the Dead. And I know for a fact that Kitase and Nomura are heavily inspired by Lord of the Rings. They also did the temptation of the ring with Cloud being tempted by the materia. They homaged Lord of the Rings a few times in this game. And I think the Gi reminded me of the City of the Dead and Lord of the Rings, where these people are stuck. They have no way of. They've been around as long as the Ketcher, apparently. This is all new information.
True.
I just want to
This
know
is
like
interesting.
what Jenova is. Like Jenova, I mean, I'm not going to spoil this other games as much, but let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
My interest in Jenova is like equal to my interest in the main villain from Final Fantasy 16.
Okay.
I just want to know where these things come from, you know?
But did you feel
Instead
that
of
way
just-
about Attack
yeah.
on Titan? Because I had this discussion with somebody where he was like, I want to know where that centipede creature came from, and I'm like, well, it doesn't that's irrelevant to the theme of the show. It doesn't matter where it came from.
Well,
It's
Attack on
just-
Titan kind of explains all that. I don't want to spoil it though, but like
yeah,
with
but
like 7 and like 16, like their main villains are. I want to know more about them. I want to know more about Jenova because it's like
Okay,
this
are you-
freaking
yeah,
alien.
maybe-
Like, where did
well,
it come from? I want to know.
they probably will expand a lot on Jenova. I'm sure in part 3. I'm sure they will. You know,
Part 3 is for me uniquely set up to be probably the best of the 3. I
agree.
guess this trilogy.
Yeah,
because they're
100%.
basically, if they're going to expand upon it the way they've done everything else, then pretty much the part 3 game's going to be like a bunch of end game stuff, just maximize, right? Submarine levels,
submarine, airship,
The submarine game.
Weapons.
Yeah.
lots of that.
Weapons.
Yeah,
Oh,
Knights
yeah.
of the Round. You know,
I'm already
Hero.
visioning it, man. They're like, goddamn,
Hero
Square
Bomber.
Enix is going to have some stupid combat scenario thing where it's like defeat all the summons and then fight Knights of the Round at the end in like a 10
Jeez.
round thing. and I'm just gonna be
Yeah,
like,
you're
oh
talking
my
about
God.
the
No,
whole
no.
Gilgamesh thing. I
No.
wanted to finish that before
yeah.
beating the game, and then I saw what I had to do, and I'm like,
No,
level
that's what I
requirements,
did.
and I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
it, yeah.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
beat the story. No, you know what I think they're going to do with the Knights of the Round? They're going to do what they did with Gilgamesh, and they're going to include it as part of a storyline in the game where the knights themselves are part of the game. I don't think they're going to do a virtual thing. That would be crazy.
No, I'm
I
just
think-
saying, like, because when you play Rebirth's combat scenarios, like every single enemy is reused, right? Like
Yeah.
the last combat scenario in the brutal challenges, it's
Yeah.
called like Ruler of the Outer something. I forgot what it's called.
Okay.
But you basically fight 2 summons as like a duo,
Yes, like
in each
like
fight.
Gilgamesh. Yeah.
And then the very last fight in that scenario is you fight like a super powered version of like Sephiroth.
Oh shit.
So I'm like, oh geez,
Oh,
okay,
damn.
here we go.
Well,
And then I have
that's
to complete 2
crazy.
more that are like, one is you play Cloud, and then you have Zack with you, and you fight a bunch of enemies like summons, like Bahamut and stuff, and like even random enemies. And then there's another one where it's Cloud and Sephiroth, and you have to fight a bunch of enemies too. And I'm
Well, I
just
like
like,
what
my
they did.
brain's just like, Jesus Christ, dude.
I like what they did with the summons in this game. They incorporated the summon into the lore, into
Yeah.
the world building, and that's and even Gilgamesh. I that's why I think the Knights of the Round might be actually part of the story somehow.
They'll probably be the next proto relic thing or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't know if they're gonna. I
Like,
think they're
you-
gonna change
like
it up. again.
every region has like a different knight or something.
I don't
Oh,
think
yeah,
they're
You
gonna
find
do
all
that
the
again,
knights,
man.
and then they get Knights of the Round.
No.
I they're not going to do regional proto relic stuff again. That they've already done that. They're going to advance. They're going the part 3 is going to be very different, just like part 2 is. Part 1 is different. I think part 3 is going to have a. I think it's going to be completely open world. You're going to land the airship wherever the hell you want. I think they're going to redesign part of the map so that it's completely seamless. And I think in this game you can. Did you drive across the ocean? Did you guys
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
I think we're seeing the potential of what part 3 is going to be with that. I guarantee the submarine.
They
is
would
so
also be
much more
stupid to
explorable.
not to not use the old areas
Yeah, they would
in
use
terms
them
of
again.
content. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh
So-
yeah.
They
So
have to
then we're
change it.
talking about a game that could be like over 200 gigabytes.
I know, but
Yeah,
easily.
easily.
It is what it is.
Easily.
I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I will
I'll download it.
happily download that.
But
Do you think it's going to be
Yeah.
another 4 years though? What do you
I
think the
don't
wait
know. Yeah,
time on
probably.
that's going to be?
Probably.
Sadly,
did
Games are
say
so
that-
expensive, man.
they did say
Yeah.
that they've already have a lot of the game design finished because of what they did with part 2. So I don't know how long.
But
maybe
let's just
3
look
years.
look at how
Yeah.
much of a difference remake
Yeah.
to rebirth is.
It's big.
If
Yeah.
if we get that much of an improvement or
Oh,
even
man.
just an expansion to the 3rd,
Yeah.
we don't have a name for it, right?
We-
But
Yeah.
right, there's no name. that we know.
No, but I think it's
Okay.
probably like Revive or something. I don't know.
It's gonna
Probably
be
another one of those.
huge. It's
It
gonna
can't be
incredible.
Reunion because they used
Well,
it in the Crisis
yeah,
Core HD
Reunion
remaster name, which I don't know why they
Yeah.
did that, but
Well,
whatever.
Yeah.
it was Crisis Core Reunion.
Crisis Core. Yeah, they could do Reunion. They could do Final Fantasy VII Reunion. Or like Revive or something. I don't know.
Revenge.
But no, Adam's right. Revengeance. Adam's right. We have the northern continent. We have Medial. We have Wutai. It's going to be so much bigger. It just is, and we have to.
And we
back
also
to
have like the hidden
Yeah.
island, like the secret
Oh,
spots that you had to raise chocobo for. I
The
honestly, I was a
secret
little
islands.
sad at first when they were like, "Here's a chocobo for the new region. Here's a chocobo for the new region. It's a different color. It could do different things." I'm like,
Yeah,
kind of like,
maybe.
man, I was kind of looking forward to
Yeah, me too.
raising chocobo. I liked that, racing the one that I raised. I don't know.
But part 3 might have chocobo breeding. We don't know. I don't think they're going to do, like I said, I don't think they're going to repeat gimmicks again, because that would just be bad game design to like do the same thing again. You know what I mean? And I don't think that I think they're aware of this. I think they know that.
They just need to get rid of a lot of the mini games and just like increase the customization more. I like the folio boards. I would like those to be expanded heavily because I thought it was too small
Folio
for what it
boards,
was.
yeah.
I like how parts of this remake trilogy have been incorporating things from other Final Fantasy games, like starting with the synchronization, the stagger
Final
system
Fantasy
from
13.
13. Then this one they brought in the Gambit system for a mini game. They have the spear grid with the folios.
Yeah, the folios. And then they brought in Gilgamesh from Final Fantasy V.
Yeah.
And then he went back. Did you guys pick up on that? He went back to the Final Fantasy V world through the portal.
Oh,
said,
I didn't finish.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think? Like once they make part 3, whatever happens, what's the next logical game in the Final Fantasy series that you think they would remake? I only have like 6 is the only one I think makes any sense.
9's the big rumor.
Yeah.
How have they not remade 6 though? Let's be real.
Yeah.
6.
It's the all-time favorite for like the OG Final Fantasy players.
Yeah,
I think I remember there was commentary from. They asked him before, like right before Rebirth came out. I think his reasoning was because just the sheer length of that game. In a way, it's longer than FF7. Right. That would be that'd be like
my favorite.
Nightmare.
My favorite Final Fantasy is 4, but that already got a remake. I mean, they could remake it again.
I just think like Final Fantasy 1 through 5.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me, Final Fantasy 1 through 5. I don't think any of those could really benefit from like a remake like this in terms of like parts. The only one that makes sense is 6 because you have the World of Balance and Ruin. So you make game 1 balance, game 2 Ruin, you're done.
Yeah.
And there's like no other game that I'm like you could split into different parts. There's like none of them. That would make sense anyway.
But Chrono Trigger is another one that everybody wants remade, and Chrono Trigger was just the director was like, what would you guys like in a remake? And he got all the fans submitted, what they wanted in a Chrono Trigger remake. Cool. So,
but see, the difference there is Chrono Trigger is like a 20-hour game, 30 if you do everything. So like,
Midgar is a
remake that
4-hour part of the original game, and they really
I know. But I'm just like, I don't want them in my personal opinion. I wouldn't want them to go back and remake all the Final Fantasies. I just want new Final Fantasies.
Yeah,
I'd rather have new stories.
I agree. Like I'm really looking forward to the 16 DLC.
Yeah, me too. Like,
I want 17, and I like 16 story a lot.
This is what in my perfect world, if anyone at Square Enix could get their hands on Final Fantasy to make it really cool, Yoko Taro, the guy who makes Nier. I think if he got his hands on Final Fantasy, that would be an insane game.
They did say they want to open it. Yeah, they actually said they want to open the series up for new talent, new visions.
Yeah, there was that great Team Ninja Final Fantasy game from like 2 years ago.
Yeah, Strangers of Paradise, baby.
I love that game. I platinumed it. I thought that game was
is
fun.
My spirit animal.
Okay. Well,
I would honestly like unironically love like a Final Fantasy Origin 2, and it's like in Final Fantasy 2, and then Final Fantasy 3 and 4 and 5. I'd love that. And I honestly would love to if I played as Jack every time, but I don't give a shit. Like those games, like, their story's nonsense, sure, whatever. But if you played it, its gameplay and its RPG systems and like how you level up and customize yourself, dude, it's so good. It's so good.
It actually takes skill. You have to really like know the mechanics. That's why when I tried to go back into it for the DLC, I just started sucking because I forgot everything. But
Yeah,
like,
like-
it's like a rhythm. You have to like.
yeah, Final
really-
Fantasy Origin is like honestly like a 9 out of 10 game in terms of like just gameplay.
Wow.
Like its storyline, yeah, it's kind of like whatever and like goofy, it's fine. But like if you just play it as like a gameplay game, like a Dark Souls, it's great.
Now, did you
awesome.
do all the DLC?
I didn't do the DLC, but I platinumed like the original game.
Yeah, I didn't do the
So-
DLC either. I started it. And it's just like they just make the existing levels even harder to like advance further. And
yeah,
I'm like,
it's such a fun game though.
yeah.
Well, I want to mention one thing because I forgot. One of my favorite parts of this game is the Midgarstormer boss fight with
That fight is boy
swamps.
BS in hard mode.
Yeah. Oh, hard mode. Oh, I bet, dude.
Oh my god.
Does he like eat you and then like wrap you up in his tail and stuff and like? Because
It just
Oh,
hits
yeah.
too hard and stuff at that point, and it felt like RNG for me to win, and on hard mode anyway. On normal, it's fine,
But-
whatever.
it made it. I like the improvement on the original because it's so simple.
You just
like
saw
walk
him
across
sitting there.
and then you go up and
There wasn't
and then
a
he's
fight.
dead. He's dead. And then for some reason there's another one. It doesn't make any sense. Why are there two? You know, why can you fight
Right.
it in the swamp and it's also dead on the spike? Now it makes sense because Sephiroth puts it on the spike in this.
I was
you know what I
hoping
mean?
that you
Yeah.
didn't kill it, so you have a reason to come back and like maybe it's like a side quest, but I guess not.
Get an enemy
Whatever.
skill from it later on.
Yeah.
enemy skill.
Enemy
yeah.
skill, by the way, those things are insanely strong too.
They are.
If you ever
Holy
struggle
shit.
with it.
Oh yeah. I
Why
love
can't we
the
get
enemy
more?
skill.
There's only one. I'm so annoyed.
Yeah.
I usually like to have,
I agree.
one on each character.
Also, another great thing about that materia is for some reason enemy skill can be linked with HP absorption.
That's what I did.
So
Dude.
technically,
Really?
if you use plasma discharge on like
On
Cloud, for
yeah.
example, every single time he gets an ATB charge, he shoots out a giant electricity discharge from his body and hurts everything.
Oh yeah, I
and then
love
he
that
heals
one.
from that.
It's awesome.
and then you can use disorder to instantly build those.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you
ATB.
ever need like a boosted attack and stuff,
Yeah.
just use Sonic Boom. It gives you
Yeah.
bravery and faith
Oh
every
my
time.
god. Endymion, did you do the Mind Blast challenge on hard mode?
Yeah,
Oh, the Mind Flayer? Yeah,
I only
Oh,
have
he's a
4
pain in the
challenges
ass.
he's a
left.
too.
bitch. Yeah.
Oh no, it's
Yeah, it's one
Well,
of the few
for the
places in the
challenge.
game where I
The
think
challenge.
it's legitimately broken. Like one of the very few places I think they probably.
I'll tell you one place that the game
I-
is actually genuinely broken. On hard mode, I apparently it's like a glitch that I've been reading about on Reddit. I noticed when you're in the Temple of the Ancients and you're fighting the dragon boss,
yeah.
normally you're supposed to be able to cripple his chest, and that
Yeah.
stops his fire breath move. For some reason in hard
yeah.
mode, even if you cripple his chest, he still does level 3 no matter what. So the
Oh.
whole entire arena gets covered in fire anyway.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, so that was one of the worst fights in hard mode, just because like you had to like survive it every time. So
Well,
you
Odin
basically had to have
does-
someone magnify mana wall
Oh, yeah.
everyone with full HP to even like remotely survive it. It's stupid.
I hate Odin because Odin is the he
One
unless
shots
you.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
well, It's like, how do you avoid that? You have to just beat him as fast as possible, and it's like that's hard to do. And then
And-
otherwise,
Put
yeah.
it on
like,
easy
I'll
mode for
reset
that
the-
fight.
Oh,
And
And then
I
another
wouldn't
really
be
hard
able to do
enemy,
it.
any
did
of those
too.
big worms that can swallow you. Those things.
Those-
Oh
suck.
yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Well,
Yeah,
you
those are
can
annoying,
parry
too.
them or no? Oh, maybe not parry. I
You
don't
can't
remember.
if you have to dodge the swallow.
You have to dodge.
can't you?
one
yeah.
one exploit I saw people doing was you use Aerith, you put down a ward on one side of the map, and then you run to the other side of the map as Aerith and just attack. And then
Yeah.
when it
Smart.
goes underneath and you see it come up, you hit triangle, and then Aerith just teleports back to her ward, and then that blocks it. Another
Well,
one
that's
that was
if
apparently
he's coming
supposed to work.
after you. If
Yeah.
you're Aerith,
Yeah, it's
'cause
true,
He can
yeah.
still swallow.
I don't
Yeah.
think
guys.
I know how to do ward correctly. It always just teleports me to some place I don't want to go.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
but he-
another one that apparently works, but it's very finicky, is Yuffie using Brumal form, where she makes a little like
Yes.
Google of herself.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
substitute
Time
jutsu.
that works too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But it's still very hard.
Dude, Yuffie is. How many? Did you guys play
I
the
love
Yuffie
Yuffie.
game?
I fucking
The-
love
Oh
it.
yeah,
Integrate?
the,
Intergrid.
yeah.
yeah.
I didn't like it at first. I stopped playing for a while, and I went back for it like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months later.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell was I thinking? This game's
It's
freaking
good.
great.
It is
I
good.
enjoyed it.
And Yuffie's backstory is really cool.
Yeah.
Yuffie's one of the best characters in the game, like combat wise.
She is really good.
Combat
incredibly
is
OP.
insane, her magic, weapon selection is amazing. Doppelganger is always essential.
It's all about banishment, man. You just max everything out and then use banishment, and you just do insane damage and kill everything. It's so strong.
She's so much fun. For sure. I wanted to just chat. There is a 3.5 hour long spoiler breakdown of the deep dive theory stuff on Easy Access YouTube channel. I'm trying to get everybody to watch it. It's really good. There's no way I can't host a stream that, or you guys could maybe talk about it, but I just don't have the information. But like, I've never played Crisis Core. I have to watch Advent Children again to like really dive into some of this stuff. But what are your overall thoughts? We're going to talk spoilers now, just quickly here. What are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, because I got to go in a bit. So
yeah. We're going to wrap up here soon, but or maybe some of us can stick around, but whoever has to leave can go whenever you need to. But what are your thoughts overall? We're going to talk specifically from chapter 13. I want to know the most important part of the game, which is Aerith's demise or whatever happens in this game around that. We're going to talk spoilers. Do you think
First off, I'm glad
go
they
ahead.
still killed her. Like,
I
I'm
agree.
glad she still died.
I agree.
Because I was kind of like worried that they were going to be like, oh, hey, the timeline shifted or whatever. Sephiroth twisted things, so now she's alive. It still felt like it was sad.
It still feels
knew
definitive and sad.
Yeah. So I'm glad that they still had that energy where, you're sad that it happened. So
I have a totally different opinion on that ending, man. I thought they fumbled Aerith's death completely.
Well, are you talking? No, let's be specific. Are you, Endymion? Are you talking about just the Sephiroth when he kills her, and that like the next minute or two of cutscenes? Or are you talking about the entire ending?
The whole ending.
Because
I thought the whole ending was the weakest.
I loved it.
part of the story for me personally.
It does take.
I know.
It takes a little bit away. Now, I know it's now. Maybe you would agree, Adam. I think when Aerith pushed Cloud into the flower bed and said her sort of goodbye to Cloud, to me that was almost a death moment for Aerith as well. I teared up during that moment, like when she gave him the holy materia, and then when she pushed him, and then Sephiroth came through. It's like, is Sephiroth gonna kill her? You know what I mean? During that flashback.
Honestly, it feels more like
sad. Yeah,
Aerith can't die, and she doesn't, because she's there with you, and she's returning to the planet. I mean, we all know that she stops Meteor, so she actually is still sentient. So it's almost like she just kind of reaches her ultimate potential by dying. So she had to die to be able to like go and rally the ancient, the Cetra or the life stream, whatever you want, however you want to.
For me, it overcomplicates everything too much. I like the fact that she just died, and it was like a massive like thing. And then in the Rebirth, she dies, and then a few minutes later, when you're in the 10th phase of the final fight, it's so damn long. She comes back to help you, and I was just kind of like, she's dead, man. Like, just let her be dead. Don't bring her back to help me. And I'm already kind of dreading part 3 in that sense, because it feels like they're gonna pull a Batman Arkham Knight, where like the Arkham series just couldn't let Joker stay dead. So like in Arkham Knight, he's like this, devil on Batman's shoulder the whole game, and like his, in his vision. And I feel like that's what Aerith's gonna be. She's always gonna be with the party, even though she's dead. But like only Cloud sees her, and I'm kind of like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I can see. I can understand that.
I interpreted the ending is that we actually they undid it and that we saved Aerith, but yet Teeth is crying. I think
this is the thing. The fact that no one knows definitively 100% what happened shows you that the ending is not good. And that's not what I'm talking about.
He's got a good point, guys.
Like, if she should have just died, and it's like Aerith is dead, and we're like, cool, she's dead, it's fine.
No, different interpretations doesn't mean a bad storytelling. Like look at 2001: A Space Odyssey. It's the most controversial movie of all time because it's by many people it's considered the best movie ever made. However, a lot of people don't know what the movie's about, and it's like there's constant conversations about the themes and the purpose of the ending to that movie with the baby, the Star Child. That's how I feel about this, which is like maybe I would prefer I actually do prefer the original story, but I am willing to let this breathe a little bit longer. I'm willing to play part 3. I'm willing to see how they incorporate Aerith into it. I want to know about what timeline Cloud's looking at with the split in the sky because nobody else sees it. Nobody else sees Aerith.
And
I'm
Zach.
just saying, Zach, is he in their universe now, or is he? You know what I mean?
What I'm talking about. Like it's just
but this is part 2, dude. Like you can't just. It's not over. So what I'm trying to say is like, it's partly. It's like, it's gonna be tough because we have to wait.
For me, let me put it this way. For me, the way this story with the whole Rebirth remake's going, with like Zach is alive in his own time live stream multiverse, whatever. To me, that lessens the impact of Crisis Core as a story because it's like, well, he's like, it's the whole Star Wars thing where no one's ever really gone. That's kind of what it feels like, and I just didn't like it.
It lessens the impact. I actually agree with Andy.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I was gonna say that this is kind of it's either you love it or hate it because really the remake series it is a recreation, but it's also like this is basically like FF7 Part 5 because it's a continuation not only of it's a recreation of the original game story, but it's also a continuation of the original game story from Crisis Core to the original to the Advent Children project and that awful PS2 game, and then we're kind of with some of those characters where they're warping back around trying to fix the problem. So in the sense of being a standalone, I think Endymion is right. In the sense that I'm looking at this as like a continuation thereof, and so it's playing into many of the themes. So like here is the actual victory of Zach from that original game, just going all the way around. I kind of like it, but again, not everyone does. I think it's well done, but I don't think it's ever going to please everyone.
For me, though, the reason why I don't like it is because this is the problem with multiverse stories in general. Is one of the things they lessen the most is death, and death has to have meaning. And once something doesn't have meaning, it kind of makes everything lose all the stakes. And the thing I loved about the original game was that Zach goes through all of this. He sacrifices his future. He dies protecting Cloud in Crisis Core, obviously, and it's like, by the time Cloud and his party like gets to Northern Crater and whatever, and the ending of the game, it's like so much sacrifice has happened, but they've made it count. And it's like there's so much blood on everyone's hands that by the time they actually get to face Sephiroth, it's like all the, I guess, like the anguish and whatever was like worth it.
Right.
But this way, it's like we're getting that, but also like no one's really gone, and Zach and Aerith can now live forever in their own multiverse nonsense, universe. And I'm just kind of, it reminds me a lot of like, I guess spoilers for Final Fantasy IV, whereas like Final Fantasy IV, a lot of the characters die and it's like really good. You're like, holy shit, like Paladin Porum turned to stone and all this. Yeah. And then when you beat that game, everyone's alive and you're just like, well, this just makes the whole but like, it makes the whole story like lesser, you know what I mean? Because you're like all this because the death has no meaning anymore. So,
but
for
it
me,
does
like,
still have meaning. It's Biggs still dies in every timeline. Zach can't save people in every time. The timelines are converging too. Would you say it's fair to say that Part 3 could possibly redeem some of your issues with Part 2? If
they
if
could redeem it,
ways?
if they just throw the whole multiverse concept in the garbage, but I know they won't.
Well, they might.
Like,
they actually might.
I don't know because like
why would they have it then?
The only thing I like about the idea is the concept of like Sephiroth merges the timelines, and the only way I feel like this could redeem the story is if that merging of the timelines happens at the beginning of Part 3 somehow, and then everything is just one timeline again, and it's none of this convoluted nonsense of like there's like an infinite amount of clouds and whatever nonsense they want to do.
Yeah,
I would just prefer to be like Zach's dead, Aerith's dead, make their deaths count. Cloud has to walk on this, this hill of corpses to get to the point where he can finally kill Sephiroth and end him.
Well,
And
but
it's
like-
like
it's not
now
gonna
it's like
happen.
no one's really dead.
The fact that Zack is in the game at all, which he
Yeah,
wasn't,
he's still
except for
alive.
like the minor flashbacks of Cloud finding out who he is,
Yeah.
it proves that Zack's going to play a bigger part in the next game.
Yeah, and
Well-
that's the thing. I don't really like me personally. Another part of Rebirth that I felt was one of the weaker parts was all the parts with Zack, because I'm just kind of like, you existing here lessens the impact of the story, and it lessens his own game and everything.
Right.
You know, so
Well, like
I
you
would
said,
just,
the end
Well-
of Crisis Core, he sacrificed himself and like fights like the entire Shinra army. Well, spoilers,
Yeah, it's
I guess.
badass.
Yeah, it's fucking badass.
Well-
The end of that game is so cool, and then like Cloud makes it, and then that's kind of like Rogue One. Now you see the very beginning of like the start
Exactly.
of New Hope. That's kind of how Crisis Core leads directly into the beginning of Final
and that,
Fantasy
and,
VII.
and that's
Ever
why it would
since-
suck if everyone just comes back, right?
Well,
and
ever
just lessens
since
everything.
Remake, I've viewed this as like, all sequels to the original game. So like to me, it's an all like new story. Like Zack and Aerith are still dead in that original timeline.
Yeah, they're dead in that timeline, and that timeline is unaffected by this game.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. One thing I will say is like I felt less. Well, I didn't want revenge against Aerith's death like I did in the original game. I wasn't.
No, because it's
fucking pissed off.
confusing.
Right.
Like,
A little.
Well,
Yeah.
in the original
I
game, you see the katana go through her. She's dead, and then
Drops
you
her
are
materia.
exactly. And you're like, Aerith's dead.
And then you're like, fuck
There's no
you. Then you have to fight Genova. Yeah.
exactly. And in this one, it's like Aerith's dead, but then she helps you fight Sephiroth later, and she's also with the party at the end. But only Cloud can see her, and Cloud's not very sad about it because she's still like able to
she's
talk
there.
to him. And you're
I
like,
know.
you should like what I really liked about these games is that like they really made Aerith feel like she was the heart of the party, and that was their moment to really land it and just be like, we're gonna rip the heart out of this party and kill her. And then what's that gonna mean for the rest of the game? But like now she's just gonna be there anyway.
But also, we already experienced that as a fan, and you guys,
Well,
we all have experienced.
Sure, the
that
OGs,
already.
the ones who played.
Yeah,
the
but a lot of new
original
people
game.
playing it too.
I know,
Right.
but I don't
They
know.
should be
what
playing
they're-
the original.
They shouldn't be playing this. But no, as I'm just saying, I'll never experience that again because it will never be as satisfying or as emotionally impactful as it was the first time I played it. So I don't need that. I don't need to like pretend that I'm like shocked that she's dying again for like the 10th time. I actually
Yeah,
like
but
what
I
they're
gotta
doing.
disagree
Actually,
with you. Hold on.
Yeah,
You-
but
you just
Well,
said
I'll
that
let you go, Adam.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. You just
Yeah.
said that new players shouldn't be playing.
well, no,
this
I'm
game.
joking. I'm joking.
If,
I'm
no,
kinda
but
joking.
but it was not just you. It's like if
Yeah.
that's true, this failed as a remaster or like a new version
Well,
of the game, because
I
the whole
mean-
point is to give the magic of like and what Endy's saying is so true. Like when you're at the end of the game in Final Fantasy VII, the original, you're at the bottom of the crater at the very, and everyone's kind of you slap your save spot on the ground, and the energy. There's no music. All you hear is wind, and they're talking, and they're like, "Holy shit!" Like, look at all we've sacrificed to just get here. We're about to go to
Exactly.
this final battle. It's like there's weight to that.
Well, new people are not
you're
going to
so right.
experience that.
But now when
with-
you play the
with this
game now and they get to Sephiroth, it's gonna be like Sephiroth, and then it's gonna be like what him.
We've already
versus
beat him
Cloud.
twice now.
Yeah, we beat him twice, right? Yeah, that's another problem, right? It's
But
like
here's the thing: we're speculating what normies are reacting to this game. I want to talk to somebody who's never played the original
Good
game
point.
and actually ask them.
I
But
do.
but it's but like they did intentionally bring in elements of Crisis Core, of Advent Children. They said that this is a culmination of every Final Fantasy VII property into one timeline. They said this already. It's like I'm trying to think of another example of a property that like did a remake, but was also like exclusively for fans. Like I think Dune is better as if you've read the book, in my opinion, because it makes more sense to me. I've talked to normies who don't understand what's happening, and I'm like, well, I read the book.
I want to say something about
But, like,
Aerith's death.
yeah.
I played Final Fantasy VII knowing like
Yeah.
she was going to die. The original
The first game. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like
Okay.
I knew the spoiler going in, and it still hurts.
Yeah, it still. I think it still hurts here, man. Watching the reaction of Tifa and Red 13 and having her not be able to interact with them, I thought that was beautiful. I love that.
Agreed.
Well, I mean, I'm only now just realizing on this panel that was it. I thought she lived.
Yeah, but you just beat it, so you didn't even have time to reflect on it. That's funny.
I mean, it's fresh. Gotta let it cook.
Yeah, but that's what happened.
Oh, so wait, hold on. So Dash, you just finished, and at that ending cutscene when she's there, you know, you didn't realize that she was actually like a ghost, basically.
Well, I wasn't sure. I know the timelines were converging. Like first she's there, then she's not. Why is Tifa? Right. I didn't know why Tifa was crying. If Aerith is alive, like did someone else die in her place? And I'm like, so like that. Yeah.
It's gonna split people.
Yeah. And he's like, and I rest my case.
Yeah,
that's an object lesson.
You have to make when you have things like this so major in your story, you can't leave them up to interpretation like this.
It also doesn't help that Cloud is such a horrible narrator that like you can't really trust anything in his head, like and especially in this
narrator. Yeah,
fair.
Yeah, and you can't even trust his. He doesn't. Did you think it was funny at the end when he was like, "Guys, don't look up," and then they look up and there's nothing there, and he's like, "Don't worry about it." He doesn't even know that they don't know what he sees. Like, at the end
that was
of
a little
game.
weird. That was a weird scene.
Cloud is
it's a little too much main character syndrome for me, personally. Like too much of the chosen one.
But my question is he nuts or is he?
Yes.
Is he?
Yes.
Does he know what
he was nuts in the first.
Insane.
I'm glad that they kept him kind of weird.
I know,
and nuts.
but is he literally seeing something, or is he? Is he actually witnessing the other timeline? So either he's crazy or he's not crazy, and that if he's not crazy.
I'll tell you my little bullshit explanation as to why he's able to see stuff no one else can see. It's a simple reason because think about it. Sephiroth is in the live stream. He's corrupting it. He has the blood of Jenova, whatever. Who's the only person on the entire team that has the blood of Jenova in them? Cloud. So Cloud's seeing probably what Sephiroth's seeing, and that's probably what all the guys in the black robe see too. They see the convergence.
Maybe Vincent.
Whatever. Maybe Vincent. I don't know. But like he's the only one that would be able to see anything because he's the one that's the closest to Sephiroth, right? That's why throughout the game you see those moments where Cloud starts becoming Sephiroth. Like when he like goes to kill Tifa, but like not really. You notice that when he's fighting all the soldiers and he's killing them, how he like does this one move with his head where he kind of like turns it. Yeah. And then it looks exactly 1-to-1 to how Sephiroth looked when they were fighting the Materia Guardian in the beginning of the game.
Oh yeah.
They do their combo move and Sephiroth does the same thing with his head and the same look and Cloud mimics him. It's the same thing. It's just the Jenova cells. That's what it all is, right? And that's what the whole reunion thing's about.
I'm just like very surprised how like I know like they all been through a lot and they all care about Cloud, but like they've literally seen Sephiroth like control him like at this point. And like how do they not deal with that?
I would not.
How do they trust him?
Don't give Cloud pointy objects. It's not safe.
Well, Aerith.
Tie him down every time.
Aerith didn't really necessarily trust that version of Cloud. She and then Tifa tried to stop him too, right? So they don't really trust him. But I know what you're saying.
I think kind of the only way
him too much.
The ending could have landed and been any different is if they killed someone besides Aerith. I was convinced they were going to change it and maybe kill Tifa instead.
Yeah,
just to change it up.
Well, they were setting
that up
with
and then weapon. Obviously that was a fake out. And then when Aerith died, I kind of especially when Aerith died, I kind of just went, well, this story's not really all that different then. Like Aerith's still dead. There's actual context and whatever, fine. But I don't know. I just don't particularly like the whole multiverse nonsense. The only multiverse I like in Final Fantasy is how Dissidia did it, where it's like every single world is like a crystal and they all exist in that kind of mythos, whatever, and then they get pulled in by chaos and whatever. That I'm kind of okay, fine. But at least at that point, there isn't a bazillion Cloud universes. There's just the universe where Cloud exists, and this
especially if they do another Dissidia. I guess they'll have to do remake Cloud instead of the original.
Yeah, it's just too much, and it's the same problem with superhero movies and stuff. It's who cares if Iron Man dies in Endgame? There's an infinite amount of Iron Man out there. You know what I mean? and it
yeah,
just
I
ruins
mean,
it.
in the defense of these games, Nomura, who is also the director of Dissidia, he was doing this before Iron Man ever came on screen. Like he
True,
was
but like
to this before they got into
my
it.
favorite version of the multiverse, I wouldn't even really call it a multiverse, but the idea is that like there can be multiple dimensions or whatever, but every single dimension should be its own unique like world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's only like one universe where like I exist. There isn't a bazillion universes where I exist. There's only this one where I exist. But if you went into like a different universe, maybe everything there is completely like different looking and stuff and has nothing to do with us at all. There's only like one Earth, one human race, and that's it.
But
You know?
but you can't just say that nobody can tell a multiverse story ever, because that is a concept and it's interesting.
No,
and
they
it's a
can
possibility,
tell
and
it, but it's just
yeah,
it's just overdone. That's the problem.
Well, it's
Well, that's
overdone
not
like
the story's
recently,
fault.
but I
That's
think
Marvel's
Nomura
fault.
was. Yeah, I think Nomura would have done this even without like the Marvel
I agree.
stuff.
I think he would have done it too without Marvel, because Marvel, whatever. I mean, and DC, and just because they did it wrong doesn't mean other people can't do it wrong. And I still think I think part 3 has to clarify some things, and I do not want an ending where it's like there's a bunch of different people in a bunch of different universe, and I want to have a satisfying ending, and I don't know how they're going to end it, but like I'm willing to give it a another game to play itself out. But
I can tell you exactly how it's going to end. They're going to beat Sephiroth, and then Zack and Aerith are going to live happily ever after in their own little live stream universe, and Cloud and his friends will be another one, and that's it.
I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe.
You think so?
That's the whole point of it. That's the whole reason why they're doing it. Is just to appease the Aerith and the Zack shippers and shit like that. And I'm just kind of like, nah.
I don't think that's shallow. I think they're doing.
I think just keep them dead.
Intentional. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they might end up having Aerith permanently be dead in the third game towards the end of it, and this other version of her, which is like, oh, I'm going to go live. She said, this is going to be like a second home. What is she talking about? Like,
heaven?
Is she talking about the light stream, or
the light stream, because the Cetrins are connected to it. That's the whole point.
But that's in the original game. The light stream is perpetual life. Like, people die, but they don't really die. Nobody's actually ever really gone anyway in the original game. So if that's all this is, it's not really that much of a departure, unless there's objective, like,
I disagree,
multiversal timeline perpetual.
Because the whole concept of the light stream is that you die, but when you come back, you become something else, right? It's not like Cloud's going to die and then in his next life, he's going to be a spiky-haired, emo guy again. He's going to be like a dog or a freaking turtle randomly or something. Who knows, right? Like something like that. Like that's the thing. Is like it's like the whole concept of the way I understood it was this: Mako, however you want to pronounce it, basically takes the live stream and it turns it into a finite resource, right? So basically, the more Mako uses the live stream, hypothetically, that means the longer Mako exists, the less amount of life can technically exist on the planet, like per actual number. So
yes,
let's say there's 10 billion life forms on Gaia right now, right? And then 50 years from now, because of Mako, the live stream's been used so much. Now there's only 5 billion potential life forms or whatever. So I never really looked at it as like, it's gonna like no one's really gone. It's like they are gone. Death has meaning still, because that the person they were is no longer going to be there, right? Like when Aerith dies, she's dead, sure, but when she comes back, she could be someone else. Like, who knows, right? Like, you never know. And I always like that idea, and I don't. And like, honestly, if they wanted to do anything, they could have done something like where you could bring in a new character in a future game who has the characteristics of Aerith, and then people could have that theory of like, oh, is that Aerith reincarnated as someone else or whatever, something like that. That could be interesting. Well, but like the idea of just like there's a bazillion Aeriths.
I don't think they're going to introduce a bazillion Aeriths. I think that you have the one Zack and the one Aerith. I think that's all they're sticking to anymore.
But that's not true though, because Zack is dead in this timeline that we're watching right now. But then Zack's also alive in his own timeline and we also know that there's also 2 Clouds, right? There's this Cloud who's fighting Sephiroth right now after Aerith gets stabbed, but we also know there's another Cloud in another timeline who's sitting in a wheelchair with Mako poisoning.
Yeah.
So that just proves that there's multiple versions of people.
Well, there is now. There might not always be. There might be a convergence.
This is what I'm saying. So if they were smart and they want to fix this in the third game, what they should do is just Sephiroth starts. He's in Northern Crater. Everyone, you start the game level level 70 because that's the main max level in this game.
Yeah.
Everyone's jacked out of their mind with materia and stuff. You fight Sephiroth, and then obviously you have that moment of like, well, how are we going to make it so that people have to recollect all the items again and stuff? And it's like, well, in Remake, the way they did that was when the Whispers got defeated, they like kind of essentially stole all of the party's materia and stuff, and that's why they reverted back to like 0. So what you can do in the beginning of the third game is they're in Northern Crater, they fight Sephiroth, they get their asses absolutely handed to them. The end of the world begins. The weapons emerge from the deep oceans or whatever, like freaking kaijus. You lose everything. You lose all your Queen's Blood cards. You lose all your weapons, whatever. Your money's gone. It's
Queen's
fine.
Blood cards.
Yeah,
now that I'm sad about.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
But you're going to take over as Sid. You're going to take over as Sid. He's going to lead the party. Sid leads the party for a portion of the game.
Oh yeah,
Cloud...
that is something.
Oh yeah,
to look forward
that's right.
to.
When Cloud
Sid
falls
and Vincent.
in.
Yeah,
oh my god, I can't. Vincent's gameplay is
it's
going to
be great. And
Oh
Sid.
man.
Dude, I love Sid. He's my favorite character.
But Cloud goes through the live stream and appears at the other side of he comes out of the other side of Mediel, and then he's a comatose. That's going to happen for sure still. They're going to go back to the Temple of the Ancients probably again. We're going to get to explore that more, hopefully. I mean, I don't know, you're talking about gameplay mechanics. How do you start back at level 20 or whatever? Yeah, I don't like the fact that we have to do that with every single game. It's kind of annoying, but at the same time, I halfway through this game, I didn't even care anymore. I was like enjoying doing that all over again.
Well, they have to, otherwise, you're going to be ultimate out of the gate. There's too much stuff.
Yeah,
and they need a reason for you to go play Queen's Blood again, and a reason for you to do side quests. Because like, why are you going to go do a side quest to get some? You get an elixir, and you're like, I don't need that. I have 99 times elixirs from the last game. You know what I mean? So they gotta have something that makes you lose everything. So I understand.
The first game, I didn't want to grind because I knew I wasn't going to be able to take it with me to the second game. Now, the second game, I don't have any interest in grinding either. Like, I don't. If I max my materia out and I get the Gilgamesh stuff done, which I haven't done, to be fair. So it is there for me to do. Yeah. But it's like I don't feel the desire because I know I'm gonna play the third game, which feels like the ending, the end game. That's gonna be the one where I'm like, all right, that's the one where I know is the end.
Yeah, you can grind, you can level your materials, you can try different combinations, you can they're gonna have way more summons in the third game for sure. They're gonna have all the ones that they probably didn't have. They're gonna be a Typhon, Knights of the Round, all those. Maybe more Bahamut's.
Give Leviathan to everyone.
Yeah,
for those who don't have it,
But also, like, we're talking about multiversal stuff, and like, that's fine. But to be fair, 90% of this game was very straightforward, original story material. Like most of the game.
Same. And that was its best.
Same. I feel like part 3 is going to be very similar. We're going to have Wutai. We're going to have the Northern Crater. I'm sorry. The snowboard stuff. Like, I feel like we're probably going to have. It's not just going to.
They even teased the snowboard stuff. There's
you know what I mean.
They teased it in the Golden.
I love that tonal shift, by the way. Aerith dies and Cloud's like, man, I'm so sad. Anyway, I'm gonna go snowboard now. Like immediately following that.
That's gonna be interesting. But like they did tease it. I just think like, regardless,
they didn't even have the scene where Cloud like puts her into the water. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's true.
I felt like, why would you omit that?
They didn't show him bury them, but they did because they were looking at the pool of water. They were looking at it. They just
didn't hit the same.
Yeah, it didn't hit the same. That's what I'm saying. This is like honestly the most important moment in Final Fantasy VII is when she dies.
Yeah, I know, but they can't. But if they're gonna have her, if they're gonna have her around, Cloud can't bury her and then like have her standing next to him like a minute later. Doesn't make sense. Why it's
stupid.
I know, but I don't think it's stupid at all. I like
why they
failed. I want to save her, man. I wanted to save her.
I like that Cloud is schizo, and he's seeing her. I think it's interesting, and I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
It does seem like that it would explain why Tifa's crying. It would explain.
He's
Does
dead.
that ending suggest that our Cloud is living in a borked reality? Because that's what the crack in the sky means. Like that universe is doomed. Did I have that right? That's how I interpret it.
It's hard to figure out, man. It really, and Endymion's right. It is not. It is convoluted and confusing, but like
that's an understatement.
But you know, it might make more sense. And actually, I still haven't watched all of Maximilian's breakdown, and apparently he has like a pretty strong theory, which I need to. I haven't even thought about this too much because I'm playing Dogma. So like, maybe there is a reason for all of these things, and maybe they set it up so that they can deliver a really strong conclusion. We just don't know yet. But like at the moment, you're right. It is like a 2001 moment where people are just like, okay, what the hell was that about? And then there's a bunch of like debates, a bunch of interpretations, which doesn't make it bad. It just makes it not a very.
I would just converge the timelines at the beginning, I guess, and then that's it. And I just I don't like the fact that Zach is like, look, I love Zach. I think he's a great character, but I think he's a great character because of his sacrifice and stuff. And when you get rid of that.
Well, I will say I didn't like that they brought him back at the end. I liked when he was like,
imagine if like Uncle Ben came back in Spider-Man. You know what I mean? It's like the whole reason why that guy's legacy is so important is because he's the reason why Spider-Man exists. If they just suddenly were like, oh, now Uncle Ben's back, it's like, oh, okay, or Gwen Stacy, I guess. Even though I don't
Obi-Wan Kenobi's back. Man, he didn't.
Like death has to have meaning in these things, and when you get rid of that concept and you do all this nonsense, it just ruins everything. Because then it's just like, oh, he's not dead, or she's not dead. You know, I don't know. No thanks. But I'll still play it. I'll still play it. It's fine.
He might be dead though, because we don't know where he wound up at the end of the game. We just saw him in the church, but that could have been the church from the universe where the rift is where the world's gonna end. So he might just die after that cutscene.
Or it could have been in the past somewhere. You know, it might not be present tense actually.
But he has his memories. Also, Cloud has it, and Aerith had their memories when they transferred into their other bodies in the wheelchair Cloud. He had his. It was like there's too much to
I
didn't understand that part.
The Aerith and Cloud from the
main timeline
game, like
went into the bodies of their other selves. The dating, I like the dating part, but I didn't quite understand where we were exactly. But it was a fifth timeline, because one thing I'll say before we wrap up, there's at least 5 timelines in the game, and they're represented by the different stamps. So if you look at the different stamps, dogs, there's a beagle, there's a terrier, there's a pug, there's another kind of dog, and then there's another dog that Shiba Inu that Johnny is holding right outside of when he walks past Zach sitting outside the church.
I hate to interrupt, but I have to go.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's nice
to
meeting
you.
Head out. We pretty much
talking with you guys. Yeah, it's all good. I just have to go back to editing. I have a lot to do still.
No worry. Are you doing a Final Fantasy video, or are you?
It's partly Final Fantasy. Yeah.
Oh, nice! I'm looking forward to seeing it.
It's about something else too.
Nice.
It's cool, it's a long ass video, so I have to go back to editing.
Alrighty, dude. Hey, thank you very much for joining. That was a lot of fun. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, it's all good. You guys just have a good time.
You too, dude.
Nice to meet you too. And just if you need me for anything, just let me know. But yeah, I have to go.
Absolutely, man. Hey, have a good night, man. Thank you for joining. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, like I didn't know if you guys knew that, but like there are a bunch of different stamps, and they represent different universes.
People are amazing that they can even like notice that, because all the stamps look the same to me.
Yeah, I didn't notice it until the plushie that I had to decide between to buy Aerith. I was like, wait a minute. Is this a different timeline because the dog is different? And then I realized there was Biggs was eating some chips, and on the chip was a pug with stamp icon. So go back and look this up. It's all there. They thought about all this. I don't think Nomura and Kitase and Hamaguchi and all these people are just bullshitting. I think they have things thought thoroughly through that it just may not have landed correctly with some people, but I don't know. But I liked this game quite a bit. Adam, do you got to bounce too at some point here? I wasn't sure how much.
I haven't even thought about it. I just
Yeah.
Let me look at. I mean, it's a little late. Actually, no, it's not too bad. Yeah, hanging out.
I was gonna bring up if you whoever wants to stick around, I wanted to ask you guys about the black materia.
Oh yeah,
I was confused about it. So the black materia is now made by the Gi, right?
Yeah, that's weird. That's new.
So well, it's new, but also we never knew the origin of the black materia.
That's true. That's true. It's new information.
Yeah, it's
right.
Makes sense though.
Right, and I actually like learning more about the black materia. I like the Gi a lot. I think that guy is so cool on the boat. Like when he was taking you across.
Yeah, that was creepy.
I don't know. I don't know how I felt about that part. It's like, why would they trust to go with them? He just kind of shows up after you find out that Red's dad actually protected them against the Gi, and then the Gi showed up, and you're like, all right, let's just go with them. All right, guys, let's go help them now. Like, I thought we've just been fighting all the Gi through this cave, and now suddenly we're just like going with them. It felt a little weird.
It did feel a little weird, although they do just kind of go with the flow the entire game. So
that's
like
true.
they just follow the the black robe people around. That's kind of what they do. And Yuffie was like, oh, I want to get materia. But like, yeah, you're right. It's a little bit like, okay. And but it turns out that it wasn't like a malicious thing. It was just the Gi wanted the Gi explained that basically the Ketra or the Cetra kind of fucked them over, I guess. So like that whole thing is now interesting, and that's might play a bigger role in part 3. Like,
so
I mean, at the same time though, that was totally not needed though. Like I feel like they could have just taken all of that out, and it would have just been like whatever. It's just like another part that they added just to add. You know?
Well, I mean, I don't know if they added it just to add, because that might play a big role in the third game. I don't know yet, but you might be right.
It seems like also this idea that the black materia now has a new function, that it's like kind of like connects all these worlds.
It connects the pain and suffering, right, of the planet to a central materia, and it makes sense now why it's black materia and why it's so dangerous. I like the addition. It might not actually.
I'm not saying I don't like it. I didn't mind it because they make references back to it later when you're in the Temple of the Ancients and you're like walking through, and they're giving you like the rundown of like the battle between man and the Cetra or whatever.
Yeah, that was interesting. With the flashbacks. Why? Okay, why was the temple up north? In the original game, the temple is south.
On an island,
I was thinking that too.
On an
island,
like, or part of the What the hell?
Yeah.
Why did they change
like that?
Yeah, it's like a jungle environment.
Probably just because they didn't want to add more zones,
or that maybe they just didn't want to have like another traveling across the entire map again, like another time just to go somewhere. And maybe it made more sense to have it all conveniently in one location. It's not a game-breaking, lore-breaking thing. It's just they changed the location of the temple.
Yeah, and they cut out the whole part with Sith, his town, which was kind of what led you into it. That's all.
Yeah, Rocket
they just
Town.
removed it.
I know. I love that whole.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
space.
they'll still have that in the third game. Like,
they
probably
definitely will.
They will, because Sid is now going to join the team, and I guarantee they're going to do his entire backstory with that girl, with this experiments.
Yeah, going into space,
going into
stop
space,
the rocket later on. The meteor.
Yeah, with his rocket.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to do that. They also have to do everything with Vincent, right? They got to do more of his stuff.
Yeah. I hope they,
with his wife.
Yeah, they don't really go into it. Like, you have to search it out when you're in the snow town. You have to go in there and kind of like look at all the videos to like get your own backstory. But that was kind of it. That's all you really get. And then of course when you get his ultimate weapon in the cave later on, but that's really nothing. I really hope we get a lot of Vincent, because he's fucking cool, man.
He's cool. He's cool in Rebirth. He's just like, he's a loner.
Yeah.
Matt Mercer does a good job.
I like that you get to fight him too. I think
yeah.
that was pretty.
Oh yeah,
awesome.
that was fun. I was not expecting that boss fight, and he kicked my fucking
Amazing.
ass.
Amazing
he's a
fight.
badass.
You know, this game had an extensive amount of boss fights, and I'm
really
shocked.
did.
Oh, I loved it.
I don't know how they made this game actually, because I've never the combat is already complex and very well balanced, and on top of that, they have so many boss fights. I don't know how they made all these boss fights. Like, it's like I'm always impressed by Monster Hunter because there's so many different unique monster fight. You know, their AI is interesting. Their move sets are really unique, and that's how I felt about this game. Like, all the boss fights had a completely unique move set and like meta. You know, it's crazy. And hard mode might come into play more often, because I don't think I died very often in the original game, so I didn't really have to care too much about the meta with the boss fights. But like,
the only time I died is when I switched character, like it forced switch characters on me.
Yeah,
and they didn't have anything
like
on
Yuffie.
them, and I was kind of like, oh well, I'm not prepared now, and
yes.
I would go back fully prepared.
Yeah,
and then
the worst was like having to put materia back on Cat Sith after he leaves the party, and then fighting Sephiroth
the fucking
reborn.
traitor.
Oh my god, the part where you're playing as the party, and he has those wings and that immunity. Oh my god, that took forever.
I hated that part, dude.
Well, the wings. It took me forever to figure out that you had to do the opposite magic attack on the wings. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I didn't even
make him weak.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about that. I thought I was supposed to hit him with the fire when it was red, and then I was like, "Oh, red means fire." And then I was using it, and it didn't do any damage, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, you definitely you need to give magic materia to everyone, and I didn't have it's so I just powered through it.
Same.
Yeah,
Dash, I don't know if you heard, but when I went into that final battle, I didn't have anybody prepared at all, just like my main 3 characters that I use. So when I was fighting that, I was doing like weapon arts only. You know, I had no spells.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was brutal, dude.
The synergy skills, I didn't use that. Those to me were like, I always forgot they existed. Like,
oh, dude, Laffy, you use limit breaks. If you use synergy skills, it raises the limit breaks faster.
Well, I'm not talking about synergy abilities. I'm talking about the skills. So like when you hold down R1 and you can shoot, you can counter. You can do a counter attack. You know what I mean? There's difference.
Yeah.
I didn't wait.
No, I'm talking about those. Not the ones that use ATBs, like the counter, like where you pair up to counter something, or you like. I don't know.
You build up ATB when you use a synergy skill, not ability.
A skill,
But
it also builds limit.
Well, the only time I knew about building limits was when the synergy abilities say it raises your limit if you use a synergy ability. Like there's like a couple of them that do.
Like I did that. I was able to pull off Barrett's level 3 at and I literally nuked Abomination Sephiroth from orbit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The raising your limit, it brings it from because it always starts at level 1, and then you'll go to level 2 limit break, and then there's the level 3 limit break, finishing touch.
I like Cloud's Ascension the best. His level 3 is really cool, but I think
Ascension. I love Ascension. It does so much damage. I finished so many bosses with that move.
Oh yeah. Now, what did you guys think of the Aerith Cloud boss fight at the end?
I thought it was cool.
It was like regular. If you're fighting Sephiroth, I don't know actually if you're fighting the real, because he's in the northern crater, right?
Well, I don't know.
So, but in the original game, you don't even fight regular Seth. I think the first time you fight him is in Kingdom Hearts 1, right? Like the original, just the regular Sephiroth. body.
But that was my favorite part about Remake was that you actually got to fight Sephiroth, and I didn't think we were gonna fight Sephiroth again Like, but I guess like, you know, I'm not complaining. They gave him some new moves. That like whisper cannon thing was pretty devastating.
The end of that fight, I died 3 times because I didn't know how to avoid that final attack. And the one time Cloud was dead, and then Aerith was just she's impossible to build ATB.
Well, I luckily
I don't know how to do it.
Luckily I had raise, a raise, and I was able to like survive that attack and then power through it. I made like one of the best comebacks ever.
Love it.
Well, I used limit siphon, and I just kept doing that over and over again. But yeah, that's how I wound up beating the end of that game. But yeah, Gilgamesh, I had to turn to easy mode. I think Adam said that.
Well, I didn't play anything on easy mode. I was just saying like that's a way to do
you might
it.
have to, or just struggle session through Odin.
But that's the thing.
And Kujata or whatever. Yeah.
No, I beat Kujata or whatever.
Oh no, Odin and Alexander. I mean, sorry.
Yeah,
I beat
I'm
Alexander
not sure if
normally.
I'm even gonna go back and do Gilgamesh. I might. I mean, like maybe like at some point. I think maybe I should just focus on other games for now and come back to it.
The only time I really felt like I had to go to easy was like for like the enemy challenges in Chad World or whatever it calls his little, his little universe.
Wait, are you guys saying?
Can you switch difficulties mid-game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys saying you beat?
Just go to settings.
You beat the double summons on normal, like all of them, including the Odin Alexander fight, like that when they double up and you have to fight them at the same time. Okay, that's the only time I went to easy mode is you have to fight Odin and Alexander at the same time. And it's so fucking hard.
Fuck that! No way.
Oh man, I wish I could have done everything quicker. Like, you know, I literally just beat the game. Like, you know, I was like trying like so hard to get ready for this panel.
Yeah, you're right. I watched you. I was like, oh, I guess he's just trying to power through it. But that's what I did. I was like, I had to beat it because I had to stream Dragon's Dogma like the next day, so I didn't feel like wasting more time on Gilgamesh. But like, you know, when you get the tiny Bronco, and you're in there's not much you can do with it, but just the fact that you can go from Costa del Sol to Junon seamlessly to me.
Yeah,
pretty mind-blowing.
Oh yeah, that was cool. That was like a plot twist in and of itself.
Yeah, a little bit. And then you can explore a lot of the ocean, man. I mean, there's caves. I think there might be hidden caves I haven't even explored.
Well, I got the treasure. I got the
treasures. Pirate treasure?
I just wish that
it's a compass.
They allowed or told us like, hey, we're gonna allow anyone who grinds anything in this game, it's gonna give you something in the next game. Because like right now, I beat the game, I enjoyed it. I have like 65 hours, I think, in the game. Like I 100% in each area. I didn't like master all the materia. I didn't platinum the game, but like I beat everything that I got max on all of the mini games. All sorts of that kind of stuff. So I got my money's worth easily out of the game, and I really enjoyed it. But like
I have an inkling suspicion they're gonna go back and try to tie these games more together. Like somehow like your the playthrough would fall through, because it almost feels like, especially playing this one, like this is so much more of a wider game than the first part is. The first part almost needs another remake in a way. Or
they could do a trilogy. What they're going to do again probably is sell the first game they sold for free. You guys know that, right? When this game came out, they let you buy a twin pack. Well, the twin pack was $70 for both games.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And it was a very good deal. And I was shocked that like Square Enix actually did that. But I have a feeling when part 3 comes out, there's going to be some sort of like trilogy pack or something where maybe Peter's right. There might be a more cohesive flow. If somebody plays from the very beginning all the way through, that would be cool. I don't know.
I would do that. I would play all the way through again if they gave us like start at level 1 and play through all 3 and you'll keep everything. I'd be like done.
That would be insane. I mean that.
Oh wow.
it's already, in my opinion, this is already one of the best games I've ever played in my life. But that would push it over the top.
Rebirth
for me,
is.
Yeah, Rebirth. Yeah, Rebirth.
Okay.
I gave Remake like an 8.5 for me out of 10. There were some issues, but
Okay.
I've never played a game like this where I was hooked from. I had 110 hours, I think, into this game, and I was obsessed with every minute of it. And like the combat to me was up there with anything I've ever played. Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter, like Dark Souls. Like the combat in this game is so satifying. So that's perfection.
It really is.
Yeah. To me, the story is just as good, if not better, than the original. And the only thing is Aerith's death is better in the original, and also it's a little bit the pacing is a little better in the original. But I can't help but like think that this game did a better job presenting the world and the story, and it's still a masterpiece of a story. Like the story is still brilliant. All the Junon stuff, all of it is amazing. I love the exploration. I love the regions. I love so much about this game. Yeah, it's up there with like Tears of the Kingdom for me, and like Elden Ring in like recent memory, I think, for sure. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, I think this one's like almost a perfect 10. There's some minor flaws with it, but like, yeah. But part 3 could be better. So we were talking about that. Like it could even be better somehow. I do you think they're gonna do the submarine like fully explorable oceans?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yes,
definitely.
Without a doubt, for sure.
I hope. I that sounds so crazy to me though. And the end of the airship, right? So I'm at this original game. I'm playing the original now, and I have the airship. I'm breeding chocobos, and you can go anywhere. And there's places actually in the world that you couldn't go without the airship.
Yeah, like Goblin Island,
or the chocobo,
or the gold chocobo, or which is not in this game.
Goblin Island, yeah. It's just an island full of like goblins, which are normally like
Goblin Island. But you need to do that. You need to go there to actually breed the gold chocobo, because the Zeo nut that's the only place that.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think that's how it is. Sisney, yeah, she's from
Crisis
Core.
Core.
Is she from? Oh, okay.
She's a Crisis Core. She was an ex-Turk.
That's right. But yeah, dude, like if you look at the map in this game, it's pretty explorable, except it's split up into regions, and the bottom entire continent on the right continent, the bottom part is not even explorable. So what I'm thinking is part 3, that's going to open up, and it might just be completely seamless without regions period, which would be crazy. But that's where it looks like it's going to me, because they're not going to backtrack, right? They already introduced ocean traversal. So if anything, they're gonna build on that, and they're gonna introduce the airship. So like, do you guys think we're gonna be able to land the airship right next to the Junon Harbor and just seamlessly get out and walk into the? Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be like landing, like you'll land it. I think it's more like, you know how when you go to the crater at the end, it's just kind of hovering, and you climb down the ladder.
Oh, maybe it'll hover.
Yeah, I think maybe something more like that.
What if it's like Breath of the Wild, dude, or Tears, where it's like verticality and you can just like jump out of the airship and like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen. That's kind of but like, I don't know how far they're gonna go with it. And
they better not move to PS6. They better not. I have this feeling.
When's that supposed to come? People are now finally able to get the PS5.
3 years, Hal? Maybe three.
Oh yeah, that was a stupid statement. Whoever made that, saying that the PS5 life cycle it's hasn't even begun.
Yeah,
dude, when the PS5 came out, Sony was still making PS4s, like still producing them in the factories. It's like, what the fuck, Sony?
I got lucky at launch.
They did that. Same.
Yeah.
And I only played Demon Souls, and I never played another game.
Same. Yeah. I played Demon Souls.
The next
and Ratchet.
The next two PS5 games I'm gonna get are I think I'll probably get Stellar Blade first.
Stellar Blade.
But Rise of the Ronin also looks good. But
yep. It's actually surprising that PS5 has like pretty solid exclusives this year. It's those, and then Helldivers is not on Xbox also.
Yeah, true. Yeah, Helldivers is amazing. Me and my friend Lucid.
It's on Steam, but yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Wait, but it's on PlayStation?
It's on PS5 and PC. That's it.
Why would it be on Xbox then? That's
I
odd.
don't know, dude.
It's it's the XS problem. This has come up for a lot of developers.
Oh, that's right.
Microsoft insists you have to have it for both. Many developers are like, okay, then we're not going to do either.
That's true, man.
They're shooting themselves in the foot.
Hey, you know what I think should happen is so the sales for this game are not amazing, but they're not terrible, but they're a little bit below expectations. Especially Rebirth, I think, should have sold more than Remake, but I think part of that is for PS5 exclusivity.
I mean,
true.
And Japan is obsessed with the Switch to the point where the PS5s are becoming more relevant every year, and mobile, by the way.
I mean,
Japan. So the Switch 2 is coming out. What are the odds this game drops on the Switch 2 and then sells like a fuck ton of copies?
No,
you don't
Switch
think so?
2 is. I don't think the Switch 2 is going to be more powerful than the Steam Deck. Do you?
Oh, I think it's going to hit PS4. I think they're speculating that it's going to be like between PS4 and PS5, like standards of processing.
Yeah,
that sounds about right.
I think
for Nintendo, it's going to be amazing.
I think if Square Enix made like a Final Fantasy spin-off, like, you know, and made it look like a core entry, like on the Switch, I think it would do really well.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, maybe they can eventually port this to the Switch, and even if it doesn't perform well, they did The Witcher 3 on the Switch.
Yeah, true. I have that.
I'm talking about the Switch 2. You know,
I think you're also forgetting that this is also, we know the whole story. And this is kind of, if you just buy Rebirth, you're missing the first part. You're missing the last part. You're like, you're playing a middle part of a game. Now, the game is fantastic, but the story doesn't make sense if you didn't play the remake. And if you finish it, it's not satisfying because even we don't know what's happening. And we're like, we know the lore of Final Fantasy. So it's like, that's a lot of issues to bring new people into this game because it's like, how do you explain that? I can't even explain to someone what the story is. I could give them the original story and then like start to like compare and contrast for them, you know?
Yeah, that's why I was saying earlier that like at least they still kept like 90% of the game pretty straightforward, even though so maybe like normies will not understand a lot of, and I don't either, but like a lot of the time manipulation stuff. But a lot of the story still is pretty straightforward in Rebirth as well, and Remake as well. It's pretty straightforward, Remake.
Remake doesn't really change like drastically till after the bridge fight with Sephiroth. Yeah.
So they're going to be confused for sure, but it sounds like from what I hear, like people who haven't played the original are still enjoying the game, but like it's interesting. But yeah, man, I mean, like I just don't know when part 3 is coming out. I'm okay waiting a while for that one.
Lofty, did you follow any of the stuff for the failed FF7 mobile games? The EverCrisis is still alive, but the Soldier one just entirely dead. And those didn't sell very well, so I do wonder what's up with
Square Enix cancels like almost all of their mobile games. Like this, their Dissidia game is closing down, and that's why, like, you know, the only like Final Fantasy mobile game I've really like, or actually one of the few mobile games I ever really did was with War of the Visions, because it's a strategy RPG and they had a bunch of Final Fantasy crossovers. Eventually it just got like too greedy, so I just gave up on it. Too repetitive.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's been 2 hours. I guess we can start wrapping up. I just wanted to ask you guys, did you guys like tear up at all in this game? Because I teared up a couple times.
A couple times,
man. So for example, so I teared up during the Loveless play when Aerith was singing her song, and like,
beautiful.
Yeah, so my parents are singers, and I grew up, with the music and musical theater and stuff. But I like the way they performed that scene. It was very meaningful, and like it was. But at the end of it, when Aerith like shed a tear, and then they showed Biggs and Jesse and Wedge, and it was like so beautiful. I don't know, something about that made me like tear up, man.
It's so is it real quick? Is it always Aerith, even if you're on a date with someone else?
I think so.
Who
Yes.
sings? Okay.
Yes. It's always Aerith.
I did not tear up at all in the game.
Oh no. Okay.
No.
Interesting. Do you normally not get super emotional?
No, I mean, if something hits me right, I feel it. I just
Did you get a lot out of the side stories? Because it wasn't just the main stuff that moved me, but a lot of the side content. Like, for example, since we already did spoilers, so like in the Grasslands, the main NPC you help is Broden, who's you find out is a former soldier, and he's kind of like he's right there on the edge of degrading. And you go through the game, and then later on when you do Nibelheim, and the side content, the story there that you go through, and you find out he's now degraded into one of these remnants.
Yeah.
And the way
Cloud
it's
recognizes
handled,
him.
the way it's handled, it just feels like my gut
a bunch
just
of
dropped.
the side quests intersect with the main plot, which I think was really cool. Like how you find out that Vincent has the Emerald Witch card you need to defeat the witch.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Right. Well, that leads into what Lofty was saying earlier about how, these side characters, they add more weight to saving the world.
Yes.
Right. And I don't think it replaces what Endy was saying when he was here earlier about like how they kind of botched how Aerith's death weighed on the moving forward. But they did add a little bit of weight with all the NPCs that kind of are prevalent throughout Rebirth.
Yeah,
they're here and there. Like the motorcycle guy. I don't remember his name. The guy
Roche.
Yeah, thank you, Pete. Yeah. That was kind of fun.
It is kind of like it is make it worse because if Aerith is like dead, if they did, you either go all in one direction or you don't. Either you save Aerith or you kill her. You can't have it like both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I agree. They did. She is dead though. It's just we just don't know what exactly Cloud is seeing because it's really not clear.
He's crazy. He's crazy,
crazy man.
Wait, just quickly. Another part that made me cry. Actually, tears came down
Lofty's
my
like,
face.
I want to talk about my crying. All right.
I have to bring this up because nobody talked about it yet. It might be the best part of the entire game. We didn't even talk about it. When everybody had to do their individual trial.
Oh, the trials. Oh yeah,
dude.
I got moved by that part, man.
They were so good. Like Red 13's is disturbing.
Man. That was hard to watch. Like they were all very emotionally impactful. It was torture. Barrett's wife. Reliving integrates.
Reliving trauma was. I thought that was hard to watch, and the part I'm talking about was when Aerith was a kid.
Oh yeah, asking everyone for help and no one would help. That was
nobody helped her, and the reason I cried is because like I manipulated the camera around, and I was like she was crying, and she was saying she was like I tried everything I could. I'm sorry, Mom. And then I was like they animated her mouth and her face and everything, and it just something hit me. I was like, this is fucked up.
Yeah, that was rough.
It was rough, man. It was so well done. Like,
they all come out and they're just sullen, quiet.
They're all disturbed. Like Yuffie's was really cool, I thought. When she had to do like, I don't know much about her backstory too much besides, integrate. But yeah, like I liked all of them. What was the other one? It was Yuffie, Red 13, where he was being tortured, and then was Tifa. Yeah, Tifa
was her dad at Nibelheim.
Was her dad. Yeah, that one didn't hit me as hard as Aerith or Barrett, but yeah, man, that was such a great part. And then Cloud was such a fucking dick at that part.
God, he was.
Oh yeah, I sometimes really hate Cloud as a protagonist. I really do. Like
I go back and forth, but because he can't help it really.
Yeah, I know he's all messed up. He's
trying to I don't know, man. It's really not his fault. but he was such a dick. Like he was either possessed or he was just that. You know what I mean? Like he was just like, we need to go. Like go fuck your feelings.
Yeah,
and then
Granted, he didn't know what they just went through.
no, he didn't know.
Yeah,
He didn't know.
true.
You know,
He didn't know.
it's not like he knew. So he was just being himself. Like, we got to go, you know, and everyone's like, fuck. All right.
Yeah. And Cloud doesn't really have something like that. He has like, obviously like Nibelheim, you know, but his memory's all fucked. So, you know, I guess his mom, I guess, would be like his trauma, right?
Yeah.
Nibelheim, the burning of Nibelheim. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I thought the Nibelheim stuff was great. I don't know. I think we talked about like most of the stuff, but I mean, I could talk about this game for a long time.
Oh yeah.
I'm playing Dogma right now. I'm kind of obsessed with it, but Adam doesn't want to play it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about it. I'm very, if I'm gonna play a game right now, I gotta love it, especially if it's a single player game.
True.
Because man, I'm sure everyone knows the Steam backlog, the amount of games that I have that I want to play that I haven't played yet that are single player. Like, dude, I could probably play games for years and not buy a new game and still
I agree.
play new games, you know. So,
I want to go back and play the Ghost of Tsushima director's cut and never played it. So
that's a
you're
game
right.
I haven't played either.
Well,
I've yet to play.
There you go.
See,
dude,
you know,
play the director's cut. Now it's on 60 FPS. Which is,
I want to play Greedfall
it wasn't at
before
launch.
the sequel comes out.
Greedfall.
Greedfall.
Yeah, I heard
that's
it's pretty good.
I have that for PS5. I haven't played that one either.
I
mean? You know,
I still haven't played God of War Ragnarok. I have that.
I still haven't even played Armored Core.
Oh, bro, that's a fun game.
I know.
Well, so what are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? Nothing.
Well, I'm on your podcast.
Well, I know, but like, are you?
What game am I playing?
Are you playing anything currently, or are you kind of just taking a little break? Because
No,
Final
you know what
Fantasy was
I've
like
you know what I've been
100
playing
hours.
randomly? Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm not joking.
You know what?
Classic.
Is it because the new one's coming out and you want to like go back and play it again, or is it
maybe,
just,
I don't know.
I'm gonna do
The
the same
announcement.
thing.
I was like, you know what? That game's awesome.
It is
playing
awesome.
online. I'm playing private lobbies. I don't even care.
Oh wait, did you get into one of the online things where you have to like wait in a queue to like sign up for
what do you mean?
those? So like XQC, all these people have like online communities where they play together, and it takes like 6 months to get into one of those. You can
RP?
It's like role playing communities. Yeah.
No.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were.
It
doing
does.
That.
I know some people who do that actually, but
yeah,
you know, it's fine.
No, those are funny to watch, man. And but no, you're right. GTA is a lot of fun. What was your overall time with this game? How long did it take to beat it? Do you guys remember?
I think I ended at 65 hours or something like that.
Oh shit. Oh wow. Mine was 110.
And that's with like everything beaten.
Oh wow.
Like Queen's Blood done. Like max score on all the side games. I just didn't do the Gilgamesh stuff.
Yeah.
I'm at like 106, 110, maybe. I mean, like, I still haven't finished the credits. I have it on suspended.
Oh yeah. Wait, listen. After the stream's over, just listen to the entire thing. It's just it plays all the best music and it goes through the story again. It's really really nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna hear it for the Aerith song.
Yep, it's a great song.
Yeah.
I had to do a review before the game came out, so I had like 47 hours. I had to rush through it so fast.
Oh.
So then when I play through it proper, I think I have a 110, and I'm on Gilgamesh. So
That's exactly what I'm at. How does that work when you're reviewing a game? This is what
stressful
pisses me the fuck off about the gaming industry, and I don't know who to blame for it. I read so many reviews where they're like, I didn't have time to play the entire game. I had to rush the story, and then they like rate the game like a 7 out of 10 or something, and I'm just like, well, how the fuck do you know what the rating of the game? Like, how do you?
I hate that too.
You know what I mean? Like, you should. If you're gonna rate a game and for
I
an
need
official
to
website,
hear over 50 hours and beaten it.
Yeah, people did the
Or
same
else
thing
shut
with
the
Final
fuck up.
Fantasy 16 because you don't unlock everything right away.
But Pete, like, how do you balance? Like, is it because you're on crunch because of a deadline? Obviously, how do you give an accurate review then, or did you just kind of do an overall?
It depends. It depends on the game. It depends how much time you have. Sometimes you'll get press codes and they'll give you 2 weeks or more, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll give you like 2 days. Like, I don't know what you're
that's
supposed
so
to do with
stupid.
that. But that wasn't this case. I was given a little over a week, and then my pal Gene over at the Washington Post, he had got through it in about 37 hours. So it's like, well, according to his advice, if I just kind of push through the story mode and almost exclusively the story mode, then I could get through it. So
I
that's
know.
what I did.
But then how do I no offense, but I don't know how I'm supposed to trust anyone's review of a game where they speed run the storyline and then like they don't even know half the shit they're talking about when it comes to whether or not the world building is good or whether or not the side quests are good. So
fair.
You know what I mean?
They give you a little guide. A lot of the bigger publishers, they'll give you a guide which advises what side content in each chapter. So for this game, one of the guides they have is, here's the top side content in these chapters recommend checking out while you review it. And I did follow some of that. So it's like a little bit of card game, a little bit of open world. Like they really emphasized in the grasslands area, you just like almost do all the side content. But you're right in the same sense that you aren't getting through the game. And the sad truth of the matter is, because the way the business of game reviews, the way it works, there's no proof actually that you've gone through the game. People just kind of have to take your word on it. And so I do know a lot of people, unfortunately, will say they played more than they actually do. It's why also I think so many reviews, if the content they'll talk about is like in the first few hours of the game, like FF16, that first chapter, like all the pictures were from it, all the descriptions were basically from that. And it's like, well, some of this probably is just like press kits and laziness, but there's got to be a few people who cheated. Like, it's just got to be.
Yeah. I was supposed to do this, but I forgot. Sorry, Anon. I didn't forget. I just I got my wisdom teeth out and I couldn't stream for the past like 2 weeks, and I didn't feel like it. But yeah, man, I'll have to talk to you another time about the gaming industry. There's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, definitely.
That's an understatement.
Holy shit, man. Like, you know, I like you mentioned Gene Park. I like him a lot. He was very influential on for his Final Fantasy stuff, and now with Dogma. Washington Post. He's an interesting guy. You know, there's some good
he's the real
journalists
deal.
out there. Yeah, there's some good journalists out there, but there's some bad ones.
I don't know. Washington Post wrote an article about me, calling me an extremist.
Oh shit!
And, I
Who
can't
was that?
look at them the same.
He's the only guy left.
I don't know,
They
some
fired.
old dude.
They fired all their other video game journalists. They had their own little imprint launcher, and it was actually growing. Like it was revenue positive. It wasn't like huge, but it was doing okay. And so there was like half a dozen at least there, and then they just gutted all of it. And then Gene stayed on, but then they put him into Society, so he's right there next to the gossip columns. That's where they put a lot of their video.
Well,
game
that's funny.
stuff.
Adam, you get called an extremist, and then somebody earlier in this chat would call you a woke like person or something.
Me?
Yeah,
they called me
about,
woke.
like,
Wow, that's funny.
yeah, something about like anti-free speech or something. I don't know any
What?
drama, honestly. I have no
What
clue.
the
Dude.
fuck? I'm anti-free speech. That's
something
ridiculous.
something about DSP. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I've been called.
Oh no, because let me just say, it's because DSP made a racist joke, and I called it racist.
Oh yeah,
and it's not that I was against what he said. Like I don't care.
Right.
Say what you want, but don't try to deny it.
Yeah,
Like,
that's different.
It was
That's-
racist. Like okay,
yeah, people can be racist, but that
but
doesn't
don't
mean
try to
that
deny
racism.
it that it was
Yeah.
racist. He was trying to say that it wasn't about. I
That's
don't know. He made
dumb.
a bad joke, and I was just like, that's
So-
weird
so-
that people
so-
think that that's against free speech.
You know,
Like I don't give a fuck
people
that he said that.
sometimes go
No.
too far while wearing like the whole anti-woke thing. Like sometimes, like
No,
it is
yeah.
just bad.
Well, you know, even if you're like an edgy right wing person or whatever, you could still be like, you know, yeah, this is racist, that's sexist, but we should be allowed to say it, or like it's funny, even though it's racist, it's still funny. Like That's not a problem. That's not anti-free speech.
I mean, most of like Family Guy's like funny jokes were blatantly racist and sexist.
Yes, the one where the black women take off their jewelry to fight the Jewish people, and then the Italians, and then the flock of Jews comes in. It's just like Jews like flapping their arms and flying. Dude, it's so racist, but like it's in Family Guy. So
yeah, it's like, how do you feel that the police are gone? Everyone, the police are gone.
Yeah. But no, Adam, it's just people. I don't know what it is. It's people that don't pay attention.
It's the internet.
Yeah, it's the internet.
I'm good. I've been around. I've been doing this for like a bunch of years now, so like I get it. Like
internet.
people are gonna hate on if you wear an orange shirt or some
they will.
whatever, like you can you put the OK sign up, you're on a freaking FBI watch list now. It's just like it's stupid, and I don't know, I don't give a fuck.
It's just annoying.
I just think it's funny that the DSP dick suckers out there, like they really have
they won't let it go.
No.
It's like you could just explain it to them directly and they still just don't let it go. It's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
That happens with a lot of stuff. But dude, DSP is such a loser. I love watching that guy struggle in video games. It's one of the most funny things to me. But he was struggling with Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom puzzles, and then there was like a VTuber that like did it on her first try, and it was a comparison. It was so funny to me. But, dude, it was great.
It's funny.
But anyway, yeah, dude, we had a productive stream today. We got through a lot of stuff. Thanks everybody for joining.
I'm glad I can make it.
Like I said, if you really want to like think more about the ending, watch the Maximilian dude's 3.5 hour long deep dive into the. It's on Easy Access YouTube channel. It's really good. And they talk about a lot of stuff. They go into the Gi, the Black Materia. They were talking about shit that I never thought of. I was like, oh, that's interesting. But like, yeah, I wanted to talk more about the gameplay because I think we all enjoyed it. And it was fun
the gameplay was much improved over Remake.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to play it again with my bikinis. The entire game.
In the next playthrough, you could just have
the hard mode
always.
So every Chocobo station now has a changing room in
that's fun.
Yeah, and you can also get the Loveless costumes. So Barrett, Red 13 can be that like black and red color scheme.
Cool.
Yeah.
You can. This is stuff you can unlock in hard mode.
Yes.
Dude, Barrett looks badass in that outfit.
Barrett?
Oh yeah, he looks like Golbez. It's so funny.
Well, do you know those are references to Final Fantasy V characters? I never played that game, but apparently those are some references.
Rosa is from Final Fantasy IV.
Or 4.
Yeah. I think some of it's 4, maybe some of it's 5 also.
But Adam doesn't know this, but the Gilgamesh storyline, he goes through this portal at the end of it, and he says, all right, he literally says, all right, Warriors of Light, I hope you have prepared or something. And then he goes through this portal, and the Warriors of Light are the main cast of Final Fantasy V.
That's cool.
It's either an Easter egg or it's like suspension of disbelief, or they're tying it directly into Final Fantasy V.
Well, it's kind of a
at this
running
point,
joke
it's just
that
a joke, but like it's in the game. It's straight up in the game.
Well, the thing is, cool. When in Final Fantasy V, Exodeth, as punishment for Gilgamesh failing, sends him using a banishment spell, and so like it's been like this ongoing joke that he's just been traveling like the multiverse,
But that's a cool Easter egg, and it doesn't have to be anything more than that. But I'm just saying it's like
You didn't play Crisis Core, Lofty, but Loveless is the play that one of the antagonists from Crisis Core is obsessed with, Angeal, who they then try to set up as like the sequel villain to Sephiroth, but then the PS2 game didn't sell all that well. It's not very good, so they kind of just let that all hang. But Loveless was the thing that he was kind of connected to.
Yeah, he was. It's like a religion to him. It's like.
Yeah. Did you guys play Dirge of Cerberus or no?
I started it, didn't finish.
Oh, Dirge of Cerberus. I forgot about that
Vincent.
game.
It doesn't
I've
hold
never
up.
played it. I heard it's not great.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't finish. It was cool, like just because I think Vincent's cool and
right.
On some of the gunplay was pretty. I liked the mansion level. That was pretty fun.
Oh, I didn't like. Yeah. I didn't. Well, okay, but you just said that reminded me of. Well, last thing I'll say, and then we got to wrap up. But the mansion in this game is not nearly as fun as in the original.
Oh yeah, completely
I agree.
I
and then
it
forces you to play cat Sith. Fuck that shit.
but just the mansion layout, like there's you couldn't explore all the rooms like you could. There's no like
right.
There's no like
secret
piano
finding.
that you can play. There is the gate that boss at the end that you get with when you unlock the safe.
The safe.
Yeah.
But they put it
not
they
the
put it at
same,
the end of
dude.
the it's no, because like you can't go in all the rooms in the mansion. It's not as fun to me. But that's like one of the parts that I thought was worse. A lot of it is better, I think, in this game somehow. But yeah. But yeah, guys.
You know,
well,
I am looking.
yeah.
I'll just say one more thing. I wanted to say
go for it.
earlier. The chocobo stuff. Like, I ended up like not minding it. I like that. You know, each zone had its own whatever, and you kind of had to find it and catch it. Like, that was kind of cool. But I really liked
I want to
and
breed
miss
chocobos.
the whole. I have my own. That's mine that I caught, and then I've raised. You know, there was something cool about that.
Yeah, there was.
Just that it wasn't there, and I really
And-
hope in the third game that they are like, you know what, you can get your own and like breed, and I don't know.
I hope they add that in the third
they
game.
Probably aren't. I don't know. I don't think they will.
Well, maybe they'll add that with the gold chocobo because that's not even in this game. Maybe that's like another gimmick. I said, I doubt they're gonna do the same like gimmick with the regional chocobos again. And they might have them, but they have to, especially for the chocobo racing. It would be so fucking cool if you could breed your own racing chocobo. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it past them to like add that into the game because they've done already so much in this game. But no, somebody said this quick. My Resident Evil 4 stream was just as scrubby as anything DS. You're that's a horror game, and what you're talking about. I was slightly playing it up for stream. I was screaming a lot. It was funny, but yeah. No, that game. No, I'm actually better than DSP at that game.
Come on. Did an interview with DSP like a year ago, and you either love it or hate it, or it was like a 5 hours of.
I saw it. I watched it.
Me talking to DSP, right?
It was cringe with Keemstar, right?
He showed up at the last hour. It was an epic finale. But I wanted to help DSP. Like, I really wanted to like believe him, honestly, and like I really want him to succeed. I want everyone to succeed, you know, and prosper in life. So I
wanted him to have a comeback.
Dude, I want him to own being a bad gamer and like have fun with it. And like, I don't know, he takes things too personally, and
yeah, he sets like limitations on himself. Like he doesn't,
and he victimizes himself. And
victimizes. It's too much, man. It was hard. No, that was it. You tried your best because Craig, that was a good stream. That was side scrollers.
Side scrollers,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've blown up recently. They're doing pretty well. But yeah, dude, that was funny. Oh man, the Keemstar came in and just kind of fucking blew that whole stream up.
Oh yeah, it was great.
But yeah, guys. Well, all these people that joined here, thank you for hanging out. And I know a lot of people watch my stuff like the following day, especially because I normally stream at 8 p.m. Wednesdays, so people weren't even expecting this. So we'll get more. We'll make sure I share this around, and you guys can share it around. And also, a lot of people haven't beat it yet, so maybe people aren't interested in spoiler discussions. But yeah, guys. What else? Dogma 2 is coming out. Oh shit, what's happening? You guys have anything happening before we go? Like you want to plug? What's like in the near future? Anything interesting projects or anything?
No, I got a Sunday night show with Nerdrotic and Quarter Black Garrett and X-Ray Girl called Forbidden Frontier, where we talk about ancient civilizations, UFOs, cryptids, all sorts of we just talk about the Forbidden Frontier. It's a lot of fun. And then of course I have my show on the Crigler Show on YouTube and Rumble.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all. But I had fun. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, I'm gonna
You're
have
welcome,
to be
man.
finding a new game to play. Might go back to playing Pokemon Coliseum.
Yep.
Yeah, Pokemon Coliseum. That's the right one. Yeah, yeah. Had to think for a minute. My brain's kind of mush right now. But anyway, yeah. So you can check that out whenever I stream.
Nice. Yeah, that's a classic, kind of a cult classic.
Yeah.
What's up, Pete? What are you up to? You have an articles coming out?
Yeah. Got some things coming down the pipeline written. I have hopefully a big interview. We're gonna do it with CultureScape, recording tomorrow with a journalist at one of these not friendly to Gamergate outlets. I don't want to say much right now because I don't want to jinx it, but that's looking like it's happening. CultureScape, cool. It's a fun show. It's my own little project. We just did an episode with Star Wars Girl, and before that Endymion, and yeah, it's just kind of a fun show. If you like Lofty stuff or Adam's stuff or Dash's stuff, you'd like that.
Yeah, and did I don't know if you can go into it, but did the Kotaku, did any of these people, did they all block you like they did everybody else? Because I know you're good at reaching out across the aisle and trying to do stuff like that, but yeah, it's not looking good, man. So most did block you. Oh boy.
Yeah. I always end up on the blockchain list, and then it's like only like there's like one little guy here that's kind of normal.
What I appreciate about what you do, and also what Shagsworth does, is like he reached out to Alyssa Mercanti. He reached out to I don't know. You talked to Frosk. No. Yep. Pete talked to Frosk. Shags talked to EVS. Shags talked to Vito, and he pushed back a little bit on stream. I love stuff like that, and I think we need more of that. And I wish I did something recently. I had the Luke Cage showrunner come on stream, and we had a bit of debate about writers in Hollywood. So like, these are fun conversations, and I think audiences enjoyed them.
Civil discourse, bring it back.
Civil discourse.
Yeah, civil discourse. Yeah, it's a lost concept. Like, we all have to hate each other.
It's not easy. I mean, I have so far the exclusive Frosky interview, and the interest in doing something like that, especially from people on my side, was not high. Well,
good luck on your whatever you're doing now, and I don't want to jinx anything. I'm actually going to be, guys. So every Wednesday a stream. Next week will be something. It's always topical, whatever comes up during the week. But this Saturday, if you guys are still interested in the Sweet Baby drama, we're having Grums and Gothics on Flashcast on Saturday. So we're going to be talking. Gothics is that chick that was sort of abused by the Black Girl Gamer group or whatever. Does this sound familiar
like
to
this
you guys?
is the one who called her out on she said, I don't actually hate white people. You made us make the character anti-white.
And then she
called her out.
Then she deleted her Twitter. So anyway, Gothics has this documentary out, and she's going to be talking about that on Saturday. And then that's Flashcast, so I'll be on there. And Grums is back on again. I like talking to Grums. I want to talk to. I might have him on. Yeah, dude. Like, he said he would come on. So what I want to do is,
I've always liked Mark. He used to follow my old account before it got banned. And I've been trying to get him to refollow me, but he actually did tweet out. I did a video on his whole thing about Flintlock, and he did share that, which was nice.
I saw that. It's awesome. And but no, I want to have him on to talk about the gaming industry apart from this stuff, because he has a lot of knowledge. So like, I want to talk about like development stuff, which is with anything, I think there should be more transparency with development. I like what NoClip does with their documentaries, where they go and invest. They do deep dives into like how a game was made. I wish there was more shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
no, that's good. This is the 20th anniversary of World of Warcraft. So talking to Grums, he'd be like the guy.
Oh, he would be the guy for sure. Also, my other buddy, Little Platoon, I am on his podcasts Mondays usually when I can. He's working on Judas, that new Ken Levine BioShock sort of spiritual successor.
Oh yeah, that game looks sick, man.
And so whenever that comes out, he that's my buddy Little Platoon. I'm excited for him. I'm just glad that like we're sort of you know, people that are good and good people are working in the industry, and it's a good sign. So you know, but just you guys have a good evening, and go play some games. Go play anything but Dirge of Cerberus. I hear that's terrible. I keep hearing it's terrible, dude. But
it's what is that, like 15
I didn't
years
finish
old or some shit? I don't even remember.
Oh no, man! I just remember playing Crisis Core on the PSP, and I don't remember it. I think I stopped playing after like 5 hours. I forgot
the
the PSP.
remaster. The remaster's really good.
That's what I need
It's like
to do.
Rebirth. It feels like that quality. You should try it.
That's what I'm gonna do, because the PSP, dude. Did you remember that PSP exists? I always forget.
Oh yeah,
I always forget, dude. It's like
I only had one game on the PSP. It was Final Fantasy Tactics: War of the Lions.
I had a couple of gems on that. One of them was this Naruto game called The Phantom Fortress.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a great game.
That's crazy, guys. Well, GG 2.0 probably passed. That's okay. I mean, I'm kind of tired of it too. I'm just like picking and choosing when I like kind of get involved at this point.
Yeah, only if something new happens for me.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much, and we will catch you next time, and go sub to everybody's channels in the description. So I made sure of that. But thanks for hanging out, guys.
No,
Cheers,
thank
Bob.
you. It was
Yeah,
great to
thank
meet
you,
all of
man.
Yep, absolutely. All right, chat. Bye-bye, everybody. See you guys.
Bye.